Good evening, and I can assure you I wouldn't do this unless it was absolutely necessary. When will this all end? This is going to be different this year, perhaps very different. And so now is the time to take action because there is no return.
Cool. Welcome to the Armchair Adventure Festival's third night, mate. Third night of lives. We're here on film night. How you doing, Reese? Holding up okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty refreshed. I'm excited for this evening. I'm very excited. How are you?
I'm very good, mate. I can confirm to Tom Ferry that the bar is open, Tom. Cheers.
Oh, yeah, it is all right. For those who don't know, if you are joining just for the film night, I am Reese. That's Matt. We are the Sidecar Guys. We're called the Sidecar Guys as we are the first people to drive around the world on a scooter and sidecar. And back in April, we launched the Armchair Adventure Festival. It was the first completely live virtual adventure festival. It went pretty well. People seemed to enjoy it. And so we thought, sod it, let's bring one back in winter. Not assuming that we'd be in lockdown again, but we were, unfortunately. And so, yeah, this is a second Armchair Adventure Festival, and it's the final evening. It's going to be good.
Yes, it is, mate. We should just say, though, before we get any further, that it's not just the two of us. There's a whole team of people making this happen. So it's me and Reese in front of the camera, and then behind the camera is tech guy Todd, or Hot Toddy, as he's known after last night's sessions, drinking hot toddies. So Todd is tech guy. He runs everything backstage. He makes it all look pretty, makes it all happen, makes that amazing festival map come together that you see on the festival page. So that's all Todd's work. And then we've got Sean and Victoria as well, and they've been doing loads. They're the people you hear on social media channels all weekend and that kind of stuff. So there's a big team of people making it happen.
Absolutely. It's worth saying there's a couple of caveats, I suppose, to this, guys. We are completely live. What that means is, we're ruled by internet, if you like. So if we disappear, that can happen with internet. What I would say, though, is it hasn't happened at all this weekend yet. It hasn't happened before the Armchair Adventure Festival. And if it does happen, I promise you that we will be back. So do bear with us if that is the case. A lot of the people who are coming tonight, there's no actual presentations, but a few Q&As and whatnot. Some haven't necessarily been in this sort of virtual world before, so having no audience, physical audience there is a little bit strange at times. So be nice, be encouraging on the feed. People usually are, but always like to say it just in case. And of course, there is a tip jar underneath the feed as well, because we're raising for Coco. As a charity of this Armchair Adventure Festival. It's an international children's charity. The original target was £1,000. It's it was £2,000. We broke that, so now we're going for £2,500, aren't we, Matt?
Yeah, and I think we're nearly there, mate. We'll have to do a little check afterwards, but I think we're like 85% of the way there or something. So that's really good. Yeah, we're raising for Coco this evening. I appreciate a lot of you have been here all weekend. You've probably already donated. So I thought I'd just remind everyone, mate, there is more than one way to donate to Coco this weekend, and there is a prize, a text donate raffle going on. So I'm going to share my screen quickly here, and I'm going to show you what you can win with the text donate raffle. So here it comes. I don't actually do this very often. I always describe what's going on. Can you see that, Reese?
I can see the outside. So
there we go. There it is.
Lovely.
So you can win a 2-night stay in this, which is a luxury shepherd's hut in Northumberland. It's in like a dark sky zone, so it's amazing in the evenings, and they've got a glass roof on the shepherd's hut, starry nights, all that kind of stuff. It's proper luxury. There's like a roll top bath out in the garden, a fire pit, 2 night stay in that. Is a pretty good prize, I think. And all you have to do to be under the chance of winning it is text HILL, so HILL, HILL, to 70085. So it's 70085, and then you'll be automatically entered into the draw, and you'll donate £5 to Coco, and that'll all go towards the total. So yeah, fancy going and staying there? Text away. I would text if I thought it was okay for me to win. I think it looks awesome, that one. So that's it, Reese.
Yeah, you could just text anyway if you want to, Matt. And if you do, I like to win. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Guys, as well, it's a cracking lineup this whole evening. We've got loads of prizes to give away as well as those. And we'll be going through those this evening, and we'll be playing a few competitions throughout the evening. It's probably, it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to it. Shall we reveal the adventure board now, Matt, winner of that?
The adventure board winner, yeah. They're going to win a copy. We had this competition going this weekend. Best comment, best sort of interaction on the adventure board, which for anyone who's on YouTube is on the interactive festival map. You go to armchairadventurefestival.com, sign up for your free front row seat. There's a whole map of loads of stuff going on. And one of those things is an adventure board. Click in it and you can interact with each other. Stuff like, I'm going to Alaska, I want a teammate or whatever. So we said best comment on there would win a copy of our book, Our Ridiculous World Trip. And shall I do a drum roll, mate?
You can do, sure.
No, I'm not going to do one. You just say it.
Okay. So it's funny you say Alaska, Matt, because we've been looking at the people who have been chatting on the feed, and one we thought was pretty cool. Philip Bradley is looking to go to Canada and Alaska, and he was looking for shipping advice and whatnot. So congratulations, Philip Bradley. We wish you all the luck with your trip out to Canada and Alaska, and I think it was 2022. And when you are wild camping in wherever you are in Alaska or Canada, you can take Our Ridiculous World Trip, our book, and you can read it in the evening because we know a little bit about Canada as well. We did end up in Canada on our trip. We didn't quite make it to Alaska because we broke down 400 kilometers from the border, but if you could go there in our place, that'd be really, really handy. Congratulations.
Fun riding out there.
It is fun riding out there, yeah, absolutely. It's the roads are great, and I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Go when it's a bit warmer, I recommend, but it is up to you.
We saw a bear, didn't we, mate? Do you remember that? So a little baby bear.
Saw a little baby bear, yeah.
It's one
of those things. So they say if you see a little baby bear, you really want to be worried because if you can't see mum, it's a problem. And we couldn't see mum, but luckily just ran away. So maybe that's a lie. Actually, maybe don't worry if you see a baby bear.
Who knows? I've got a good comment coming in here. So evening Ant Deck and the team. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. That raffle bit was very Ant and Deck. I did feel a bit like I was on some sort of TV show. Should have been sliding along the bottom, like text to donate here. So mate, should we talk about the lineup we've got going on this evening?
I think so, yes. So in about 5 minutes' time, we're going to be joined by Tim and Marissa Notier. Notier's Frontiers. They came with us at the last Armchair Adventure Festival. They were heading around the world, Two Up and Overloaded. That's the name of their book. And they were on a motorcycle and they were locked down in Uganda. So we said to the guys, we'd love to see how you got on since. Great thing about the Armchair Adventure Festival is because it is all virtual, we can reach out to people all over the world. And it was awesome to have a chat with them when they were in Uganda. What have they been up to since? We'll have a chat about that. We'll find out. After that, we're going to be joined by Ben King, the King on the Road. Ben joined us last night for the Big Fat Quiz of Adventure, for anyone who tuned into that whirlwind. He's going to be back this evening. Last night he was just part of the fun. This time we're chatting about his adventures. He was bidding to become the youngest person to ride around the world, I believe, and he gets distracted very easily, and he's very excitable. So there you go. But it should be fun. And then after that, we've got two really, really good films, don't we, Matt?
Yeah, really good films. So first up, we've got Awaken, which is the Sun God film made by the guys at Sun God. It is basically 3 different groups of adventurers adventuring in their own back gardens, and they get up to all kinds of cool adventures, ice climbing, skiing, that kind of stuff. Just an all-round brilliant film, low impact, no flights taken or anything like that. Really good one. Reese, you want to tell us about the Frozen Road while I remember to put my charger in my laptop?
Sure, I would love to. Oh, what do you like? Frozen Road. Ben Page in 2014 set off to cycle around the world. He's now a filmmaker, and his first film was A Frozen Road. It saw him head to the Canadian Arctic on his bicycle. In some very, very cold conditions. We've been in cold conditions, they're not pleasant. And the quality of this film is absolutely unbelievable, especially as it was his first one, which makes it even more impressive. And how he managed to film it so well, considering just how isolated and cold and freezing and horrible it must have been at times for him, is testament, I think, to his filmmaking abilities, because some of the shots are really, really good. So that's the second film, and then Ben will be coming on for a chat afterwards. Obviously, guys, the feed is completely interactive, so if you've got any questions for any of our guests, Tim and Marissa, Ben, Georgina, or the other Ben, so Ben King, Ben Page, do put them on the feed. We are monitoring it. And we will try and pick them as much as we possibly can. So yeah, it's going to be a fun evening. I'm looking forward to. I suppose in some ways I'm a bit disappointed as well. It's the last Armchair Adventure Festival evening, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's odd, isn't it, mate? It's gone by in a flash, a very festive flash, and lots of fun it's been. Yesterday was a big day, wasn't it? We had all kinds of adventurers on. I'm going to have to go back and watch the presentations again, because it was so busy backstage, sorting the next one out and stuff like that. I didn't get to see a lot of them.
No, you're going to need a backstage pass, aren't you?
I'm going to need a backstage pass. Yeah. Nice plug there, mate. You can get a backstage pass, guys. If anyone missed out on that, you just go to the little door on the interactive map, and you pay £2, and you can see all the content for December. So that's how that works. What else could I say, Reese? Anything in particular?
I don't think so. Obviously, there's a couple of things that are on that map. There's Sidecar Corner. So even though we'll be finishing around about 9:30, 10 p.m. this evening, there's loads of cool little spots. Yeah, the Sidecar Corner, you can learn a bit about us. There's the Honda tent. So anyone who wants to win 2 tickets to the Daythorpe Honda Adventure Centre, if you're a motorcyclist, get in there now and put your name down, because we're going to be closing that when we're screening, I believe, Awaken. So you've only got roughly about an hour tops to check this out. And you basically can win 2 tickets to the Daythorpe Honda Adventure Centre. It's completely free to enter. So, it's no risk, all to win. That's not the right saying, but no risk, all reward. What is the right saying for that sort of thing?
I don't think there is a saying for that. I think if you wanted to, you could coin one now.
Right. No risk or reward.
Reese Gilts, 2020. Well done, mate.
Yeah.
Well done. So that's what you should do. Go to the Honda Africa Twin tent and enter. Really, definitely worth it. And it doesn't cost anything. So, and it's a good day out down there, mate. We went and did 2 days on the Africa Twins. Fell off a few times. Doesn't hurt, it turns out. So loads of fun.
Absolutely.
Mate, shall we now move on and get Tim and Marissa on here, talk to some guys on their journey and see what's going on?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, if you're just joining us right now, we're about to go backstage and bring on Tim and Marissa, Notier's Frontiers. They headed off from the States to go around the world, 2 Up and Overloaded, when COVID stopped play. And they were, last time we spoke to them at the Armchair Adventure Festival, they were locked down in Uganda. And we're going to see how they've got on since and have a bit of a chat about their adventures in general. So, Todd, there's a short little intro for Tim and Marissa. If you could play that, and we'll be back very, very shortly. Lovely stuff. So that was a short video there for Tim and Marissa. I think we played a quick Honda ad afterwards while we were getting ready. And we're joined by Tim and Marissa now. How are you doing, guys?
Doing well, doing very well.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, big question first. Where are you now? Have you moved?
We are in Nanyuki, Kenya, just west of Mount Kenya itself. And on sunny, clear days, we can actually see it in the distance. So we've moved from Uganda into Kenya.
Awesome. So that is progress, isn't it? Especially right now, because it's difficult to continue sort of moving. So well done on that. I mean, I guess was it easy, I guess, to even cross the border there now?
It was necessary. It wasn't easy. Our visa had expired in Uganda, and so we really needed to move on. But yeah, you had to have a test beforehand, and there were some visa issues because of all the pandemic problems.
Yeah.
But we made it there.
Yeah, we would have happily stayed in Uganda for a little bit longer if our visa applications went through. But once the border opened, it kind of pushed all the legal tourists to go to the border for them to decide if you can stay or not. And sadly, we kind of got evicted, but
we're liking it here in Kenya as well. It's a bit colder
yes.
where we're at, as you can tell, even though we're right on the equator. Like, we can walk to the equator from our house.
Yes.
But a little bit high altitude, so 6,700 feet, which I looked it up, is about 2,000 meters.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's a little cold.
Yeah, nice. So guys, for everyone who wasn't here in April, maybe hasn't heard of you guys before, haven't seen your stuff, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, what you're up to, where you come from, where you go in, that sort of stuff.
Well, we're from Chicago, and we ride on one motorcycle, two up. It's a KTM 1190, and we've been on the road for more than 3 years now.
August 21st, 2017 is when we left. And we spent a couple years in the Americas. South America was just my heaven. Really enjoyed every square mile of that.
Then we went home for some bike repairs, and we got married, and we shipped the bike and ourselves to Cape Town, South Africa, and we've been riding in Africa ever since.
Yes.
Cool. And then you got as far as Uganda, you got stuck. That's where we caught you last time. So what was that like then? Because you were there for quite a long time, weren't you?
Yes, 7 months. In the beginning, we were very concerned that Africa was going to become the next humanitarian disaster with the coronavirus. But luckily, things did not turn out like that. We would have gone home if it was a feasible option for us, but it really wasn't financially. And we really lucked out because Africa really welcomed us. Uganda was a great place. People are super friendly, and the coronavirus situation is fairly good here. So we've been very, very fortunate.
No.
Yeah. And Tim, how are your teeth? I heard about a bit of an incident there.
We were in Uganda. In Kampala. I needed a root canal on like a fourth tooth back, and we talked the other day to kind of catch up. And I explained how I had a root canal, then I had a crown, and the dentist chair wasn't as modern as some people would hope. And then the electric wires that went from the chair into the wall, the plug was cut off, and it was just two exposed wires in each part of the socket. So a very interesting time indeed. And then last week we had one of the best days we've had in Africa so far, but my crown snapped in half and broke out. So I've been decrowned.
Oh
no.
So
the reason why the day was so awesome is because we went to a nearby nature conservancy near here, nature park, and we got to ride horses around rhinoceroses, and we got to actually feed a rhinoceros.
Insane. We fed a rhinoceros carrots, and I don't know how many of us are able to say that,
That's
but
mad.
It was a blind black rhino that was 25 years old, named, what was his name?
Baraka,
Baraka.
which means blessed.
And yes, it was a fascinating,
amazing.
And then we rode horseback through an African setting,
Serengeti
and
type
there's
situation.
water buffalo and antelope. Just and
my
I mean,
word.
as we've been talking, we were stuck in Uganda for 7 months, and stuck is loose. I don't want to, you know, there's no woe is me story, but this totally revived our adventure spirit, even though we traded 150 horsepower for one, but it rekindled a lot of the spirit, you know.
Yeah, it's like, I guess like it's quite a commitment, isn't it? Really, like to stay, because a lot of people would, if you get stuck in lockdown somewhere, it's a big decision. Do you go home? Do you stick it out? You guys stuck it out with fair play. And like you said, you know, you're on such like a cool adventure. And I suppose doing something like that is quite the reward, really, for waiting for it. I guess that probably makes it feel all the more worth it, continuing on with it and whatnot. So, yeah, I bet that was so cool, guys. I bet it was really, really good. So, I mean, in terms of where you guys are planning next, then. So we chatted before, I think, and you know, we didn't really know what was going on. You've thought about maybe heading to Europe at some point as well, but it's difficult. What are you thinking when this, hopefully in 2021? What's your plans?
Part of the problem is Ethiopia. We want to go north from here, and we want to go up to Egypt, and then from there, hopefully find our way to Europe. But Ethiopia, as you know, right now is in the midst of a civil war. Apparently, the border is even closed.
Right.
So we weren't planning on traveling now anyway, just because the situation is.
We're
still
in no
not very
rush to
good.
get to Europe, and as you guys know, there's, you know, certain spots are also locking down for the winter. So we want to plan our time out accordingly. We will be broke by the time we get to Europe. I don't know how to say it nice or, you know, elegantly, but we're going to have to try to figure out some kind of phase 2 of the operation that we've just been kind of ignorantly blissful about up until you were speaking about it, you know. But we'll have to, if anybody's hiring.
That's a good way to be, man. Just enjoy it while you can, and just enjoy the riding and stuff. So I mean, it's amazing that you've been able to do it for so long, really. And is the plan really just to keep going as a lifestyle for sort of as long as you can, or do you
know, watching like Simon and Lisa, I think there's something in their soul that, you know, is amazing and awesome. And I do love traveling, you know, but 20 years seems like a really big number, you know. That's something that I admire of them. They're awesome. They give great speeches. They're hilarious people, really motivational. But I don't think 20 years is in our game plan. I think another, you know, 4 or 5 years. I would, you know, we, in our boredom here in Africa, we've been watching like a lot of Rick Steves Europe, right? To dream about, you know, like Croatia looks amazing, you know. So we see all these places with, you know, rolling hills and mountains in the background, and we're like, I would like to own.
See, you guys are all jealous of us here being around rhinos, but we're jealous of you guys there. Rolling moors and mist.
That's how it works, I guess. I think, I think you're going to be on the road for another 20 years, guys. What you think? Like, you're saying like maybe 4 or 5 years. I think that means like this is life now, because that's a long commitment. Yeah.
But I suppose if you I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? You pause for, I guess, 6 months. You guys are quite, you don't know where you travel quite slowly, don't you? I suppose you've been on the road for like 3 years. So I guess staying in one place for a little while is usually okay, but not 6 months. So maybe, who knows, guys? I mean, you might get to a point once you are back on the road, you might end up going for even longer. In 20 years, well, wait and see, really. But you've got Asia as well.
Asia.
I mean, our end goal at some point in time is Mongolia. You know.
Right. Cool.
Malaysia. Oh, there's so many incredible things.
Yeah, you're going 20 years, guys. You've got 20 years. Guys, we better ask a couple of questions from the feed. Murray here has said, What about visa issues? You kind of touched on that with Uganda. You had to move on. What's the situation here now with Kenya then? Are you in a situation where you're going to have to leave fairly soon, or are you okay?
So we got stamped in for 3 months, and as Americans, we can
Renew our visa
it
for another 3 months.
Oh, okay.
The silly thing about Kenya is that they stamp your visa for 3 months, right? But then they only give you a TIP for two weeks. But that's a long, stupid story. I was able to use my carnet. Most people don't think you need a carnet for a lot of these African countries, which is true, besides Egypt. But it is a handy thing to have on, because I would hate to have to ride to Nairobi every 2 weeks to get my motorcycle approved
Yeah,
again.
for sure.
Yeah, we've been in Nairobi traffic. It's not fun.
No.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, we're from Chicago. I avoid big cities.
But I tell you what, the thing about Nairobi traffic is we were queuing up on their equivalent of like the M25 in London, the ring road around it. We just sat there and then looked to our left and there was a giraffe just galloping by. And it's like, whoa, we're in Africa now. Like, this is pretty
How
cool.
awesome is that?
I believe it.
Yeah.
You got to give that to Nairobi. So guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about what else you can do to sort of keep it going on the road and stuff. I know that you've written a book, Two Up and Overloaded, and that's out there and people can read that. Tell us a bit about that. What does that cover?
So Two Up and I was going to call it Two Up and Fully Loaded, and then I've received some comments over the years about how I've packed my bike. So I just figured if I called it Two Up and Overloaded, right on the cover,
Everyone will know the truth.
People can get past that. But that's our journey from Chicago to Panama.
Cool.
And that just came out this year. Part of, I hate advantage is the wrong word, but me utilizing some of our downtime has gotten me to be able to write the next segment in the travel journey. So
Cool.
hop on board. Started,
yeah,
slowly but surely.
Okay. And have you got an equally catchy title for that one in the locker already, or not yet?
So don't laugh, and this is a test, and I'm glad I can't see the heckling comments if they don't like it, but I'm thinking Blood, Sweat, and No Tears. What do you think?
Nice, man. Yeah, that is the title. Yeah. Let's see what everyone says, but yeah, that's I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we have to ask people on the feed to make sure, comment, guys. We want to know what you think to Blood, Sweat, and No Tears. And when are you guys thinking about that coming out then? Is that like end of this year or early next, or?
Oh, not this year. No, that's too much pressure. But right now we're in Peru in my head.
Right. Cool.
So we got to get to Ushuaia, but early next year, I'm hoping.
Cool. So both books are going to be on your sort of American trip then, really. So, because you guys, you spent so long there. I mean, I spoke to you before, and you guys loved the Americas, didn't you? That was just like absolutely amazing for you.
I cannot express enough. Now, you have to realize Marissa has traveled extensively, not on a motorcycle, but as a college student,
Backpacking.
Every country that I go to is the first time I've ever been there. So when I say, I love Peru, and there's a whole lot. There's probably more ahead of us than there is behind. But up to this point, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Argentina, just I couldn't.
The mountains and the nature really.
I'm like speechless. Yeah.
It is an amazing part of the world. I mean, watching your intro video there and just seeing you guys glide along the Uni Salt Flats. I think that's very. Yeah. Oh, it's an amazing part of the world. We couldn't get our bike on there because it was rubbish, but we kind of just looked.
Probably a good choice.
No, that was probably very wise of you.
That was the best, worst thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
Really, because of the salt. Yeah.
The salt can destroy all of your electronics. It got my kickstand censored pretty bad. We were riding with another 2-up couple on a KTM called the Adventure Hacks, and it got into their front wheel bearings and blew up like a hand grenade.
Our bike wouldn't start. We were in the middle of nowhere. It was bad. Yeah.
Did you went to uni?
Yeah.
A small little kind of town, and it was trying to get bike parts and figure stuff out on the fly.
We had to be towed back there.
Yeah.
We
But
came
all
from the
parts of it-
south and we ruined our bike on the way to uni, so we had a big problem with that when we got there. It was because we did that Lagunas route, like through the
Oh yeah.
onto lakes and stuff. You guys do that, yeah?
Oh
Amazing.
yeah.
Yes.
Insane.
That is
Yeah.
bad for the bike.
Yes.
Yeah, if you guys are
But-
planning South America back home, Google Lagunas route and you will not be disappointed by that. It's incredibly fast. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Hardcore though, way too hard for us, but yeah, lots of rough tracks and things.
Having 3 wheels would have been nice. I mean,
Mm,
part of the problem is that who we were riding with, again, the adventure hacks, he was a tall Canadian sturdy man, and I don't know if Zoom adds 10 pounds or not, but I'm a skinny little dude, and he would never drop his bike,
Right.
and I would just continue. I was just like a dead fish, and it's just,
Well, I mean,
lose-
I suppose talks about that, guys. Is it? I mean, is it harder if you're too up on a bike in terms of balance and stuff, especially on these sort of off-road trails? And also for you, Marissa, do you enjoy it? Is it uncomfortable or?
that's a great question, because for the first, I'd say, year and a half of our trip, I hated it. I hated going off-road. I was terrified of falling. I hurt my foot in Peru. Really, after that moment, I started to kind of face my fears and like it more. And now I'm perfectly fine with going off-road. And Tim's skill level improved a lot as well. So we kind of grew together with it. But I add a lot of weight. And that's a lot of luggage on one bike. So it is difficult, I know.
And like the Lagunas route, isn't like we don't just stick to pavement. Like we do nasty, gritty crap where we shouldn't probably have been, and somehow make it to the other end. And we'll be like, we probably shouldn't do anything like that again. And then a month later, we find ourselves in the same situation in a different country. But yes, having an 1190, a KTM, a big bike, it's not as fun as a 650 or 250 or whatever for that matter. And having a pillion, equally not a disadvantage, but it makes it more difficult. But I would go down the same crappy, horrible roads, too up and overloaded, if you will, again every time, because it's I'm not used to being on a 250 all by myself, so I don't know the wonderful glories of
Yeah, for
we
sure.
make it work.
But for you guys as well, having 3 wheels as opposed to just 2, it must have been difficult.
It was.
It's a dream.
Yeah.
Never
we always
fall
say. It wasn't so much the 3-wheel thing. Had we had like a really good bike, then you're fine. You just glide through it. But it was the scooter thing, and we were wearing powered. We pushed it through the Lagunas route, if we're honest. We didn't have any oxygen for the bike. That's a whole nother story though. And
That's great. How big was your front tire on that scooter?
It was not massive. I can't remember.
It weren't very big, and the ground clearance in general.
Yeah, we cracked the thing. The thing we did though was cracked the sidecar alloy, and we snapped 3 of the 5 sidecar joints. So we actually ended up riding through, and we're embarrassed to say, sidecarists, but we were riding pillion as well, because the sidecar was battling on the floor, and if you sat in it, it would just drag. So it was very stupid.
Wow.
But that was a mad adventure. Guys, that's pretty much all we've got time for chatting wise. So thanks so much for coming on, and enjoy the rest of the time in Nanyuki. It's a cool place.
Yeah. Thanks
Thank
for
you
inviting
so
us
much.
back.
It's our pleasure.
It's been very fun.
Yeah,
Awesome.
really cool to have you on. And I would say, guys, if you're around, look at their new website. I believe you've just been putting it together right at that stage, and it's a very cool new site. It's what's it called, guys? How do we look at that? What's the actual URL?
Notiersfrontiers.com.
Cool. Notiersfrontiers.com.
Yeah,
Check that out. It was a cool website. I went on it the other day. Cool. Thanks, guys. Really good chatting. We'll catch
Cheers,
you
guys.
Next time, hopefully.
Thanks, guys. See you
Cheers.
next time.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that was great fun. Yeah, great to chat about the Lagunas route as well. Mate, I don't know if you've seen. I'm pretty sure that Charlie Prescott, who built the sidecar, is watching this feed. I've saw him pop up a couple of times. So hi, Charlie. When we were actually in a uni and we had that broken sidecar wheel, we had to find an alloy welder And Charlie wasn't best pleased because he built the sidecar, understandably, and we went and ruined it.
Yeah.
And he said they've got no chance of getting out of there. There was no way an aluminium welder would be there. And lo and behold, we found one. And Charlie said, if there's ever proof that God exists, that was it. So, yeah. I mean, if you're looking for proof, we have proof that God exists. We managed to get an aluminium welder in a uni. And again, sorry, Charlie, but I do hope you enjoying this evening. There you go.
Sorry for breaking it over and over again. Your wonderful masterpiece. It was such a good sidecar, though. To be fair, mate, I don't think we'd have done it on any other sidecar. So
absolutely not. No, those guys were fun, weren't they? They were.
Love chatting to them, mate. Yeah.
And fair play for sticking it out, and managed to make a bit of progress. And now they're in Nanyuki, been there before ourselves. It is a nice place if you're going to be somewhere stuck, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a night up at Chucky's Chips, didn't we? If you're ever riding through, check that out on iOverlander. Chucky's Chips, a little place you can go and camp in their back garden and eat some chips. Cool place. It was weird, wasn't it? Like it was like you get back to the UK, but everything's on steroids. There's massive fields of like rolling hills, and you can just see Mount Kenya in the background. It's amazing. Very cool part of the world.
Yeah.
So that was fun. What else is going on, mate? What we've got coming up next?
So very shortly, in about 5 minutes or so, we're going to be catching up with Ben King, the King on the Road. He set off to go around the world in 2017, and he made it about as far as Pakistan when his visa ran out. But he's probably one of the most enthusiastic people you ever come across, especially on the adventure scene. So it's going to be a fun chat. After that, we're going to be watching Sun God's Awaken. That's kicking off at 8:15. What I should say, guys, in general, is when me and Matt are chatting, do feel free to go and get yourself a cup of tea, a beer, a glass of wine, a Bailey's, or whatever you'd like. We're just getting things ready and whatnot for the next guests and such. So we'll be screening Sun God's Awaken after that. And believe it's on doing a festival circuit at the moment. Getting a lot of success. The shots are amazing. And I guess we're part of the festival circuit, which is fun. And after that, we've got Ben Page's The Frozen Road. Ben headed around in 2014 around the world on a bicycle and it found himself in the Canadian Arctic, which is all about the Frozen Road. And here we are afterwards for a Q&A as well. In amidst all that, guys, amongst that, obviously, if you're on this stream now, you may well find it on YouTube. Equally, if you do sign up, armchairadventurefestival.com to get your actual ticket, you can get access to the festival map. There's lots of things going on in there, including the Honda tent, in which you can find, if you enter, you can win 2 tickets to the Daythorpe Honda Adventure Centre. That's going to be closing when Awaken is on, and we'll be announcing the winners after that as well. So don't forget to do enter that. It's completely free, and there's absolutely no risk, just all reward.
Yeah.
Is that a better one?
Yeah, that's what you coined. Someone said nothing ventured, nothing gained on the stream was the saying you're probably looking for, but that kind of isn't it, because like that's kind of implies there's some risk. You don't have to venture at all here. You just have to literally type your name in. So there's no venturing really.
Yeah.
So there might be a better saying for that. I don't know, mate. Someone also said, why is Matt's Christmas tree falling over and Reese's is stood up? I don't know. I just a bit more loopy like that. It kind of couldn't get in the shot, so I just angled that star in. I'm more important, like this pile is the big thing you want to look at over on my side, isn't it, Reese? Got all sorts of prizes. What did we give out last night that we should thank people for? Overland event tickets, they were given away. Kite seated gloves. We've got Sun God sunglasses, Adventure Bike Rider Festival tickets, Metal Mule panniers, Metal Mule fuel holder thing.
Yeah.
Rentec dry bag. Anything else I'm missing, mate?
Off the top of my head, I don't think so. No, but there are things that are going to be obviously today. We just showed there before Matt shared his screen and shared. If you text donate on the Coco, text donate £5 on the Coco code. I don't know if we can get that shown up again at some point.
Yeah, I closed it this time, but I can remember it. It's text HILL HILL to 70085 70085. And yeah, you'll donate £5 automatically, and you'll be in with a chance of winning 2 nights stay in a luxury shepherd's hut in Northumberland, which is very, very cool.
Yeah.
So yes, mate, loads of stuff going on. And I did just have a quick look on the fundraising page a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 89% of the target.
So
away.
Okay, so we're looking for another 11%. So the original fundraising target was £1,000. Then it was £2,000. We broke that. We're trying to finish it on £2,500. And obviously the tip jar underneath. If you enjoyed Tim, Marissa, if you enjoy an evening in general, you can donate on the tip jar. Anything from 10 pence is greatly appreciated. It really doesn't matter how much, just if you're enjoying yourself. I saw Ryan on here as well. Can we get no risk or reward on a t-shirt? We should have thought of that. We were thinking of a really good a good saying for t-shirts for the Armchair Adventure Festival, but we're nowhere near creative enough, so we couldn't get one. But you can obviously get, if you go to the Armchair Adventure Festival shop, you can get yourself a Winter 2020 t-shirt like this, or like Maxwell, or like other ones, hoodies, all sorts. And what a winter it's been, 2020. There's a winter like no other, a year like no other in many ways, hey Matt?
Yeah. Well, Ryan, if you want to get one in white, I'm sure Reese will write that on for you, won't you? You get a big Sharpie and just write no risk, no reward.
That's no problem, yeah.
So we can ruin a t-shirt and that'll look nice, I think. Signed. It's a good place to get your Christmas presents, mate. The shop more or less closes on Sunday night. So we just basically do a big stock run and we don't keep it open. So if you want to get a calendar or a t-shirt or a hoodie or a beanie, all that kind of stuff, check it out tonight. And
exactly.
Get those.
It's worth saying that the calendar is obviously 12 months in a year, 12 adventurers who have joined us from the Armchair Adventure Festival, either this one or one of the last ones. There's photos from us. There's Simon and Lisa Thomas tour around the world. There's Ben King, who's coming on in a minute. There's a shot from the Frozen Road, Ben Page. There's Carl Bushby, who blew everyone's socks off, including mine last night, with his talk about walking around the world, left in 1998, and he's still going in 2020. There's Elspeth Beard in there. There's all sorts of adventurers in there, isn't there? Steph Jevons as well. So
good heavens, or should I say blimey?
Blimey, Steph Jevons. Yeah.
Had to be at the quiz, guys. Yeah, so yes, all sorts of stuff going on. It's a good calendar in summary. Everything's free UK shipping, so check out the shop. And that's a good shop plug. Shall we now meet the man who is a man of means by no means? It's Ben King, King of the Road. Let's play his short video, Todd, and then we'll get Ben King on for a bit of a natter. Cheers.
Trailer for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, all but 2 hours of pushing broom. Buys a 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road. I know every engineer on every train, all of their children and all of their names, and every handout in every town, and every lock that ain't locked when no one's around to sing. Trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, all but 2 hours of pushing broom. Buys a 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road. Trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents. No phone, no pool, no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, all but 2 hours of pushing broom. By the 8 to 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road, king of the road, king of the road, king of the road.
Cool, we're back in the room now. And Ben's back too. He just froze. I thought he was doing a Frozen Road themed entry there, but Ben's here. Hi Ben, how you doing?
Hello, how's it
Hello,
going?
Ben. He's still drinking from last night's quiz, as Todd observed a minute ago. And well done, Ben. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Have you recovered from your big session on the Big Fat Quiz Adventure last night?
That was a great fun time I had last night. And then I had to be up super early this morning at 6 a.m. to work as a delivery driver, which was fun. that was a great shift.
I'm hoping they were non-alcoholic beers, Ben. We'll just leave it at that.
Of course. Don't you know me at all?
They were
I'm
the
very
Brewdog
responsible.
Nanny State ones, weren't they? That's what it was.
Well,
Yeah.
that was disgusting. That was awful. It's the Punk AF one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay. Well, cool. Let's get straight to it then. We've just been seeing your little King of the Road intro video, which is a cracking little vid. Love that stuff. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Oh, thanks.
People who don't know you, Ben. Tell us about what you've been up to.
Right. So I set off in 2017 with plans on riding around the entire world. But then as soon as I got on the road, I realized it was going to take me quite a long time to do that, because every country I went to, I fell in love with it. So I think it took me like 6 months to get out of Europe. And I thought in 6 months I might be in Australia, but that didn't happen. So, and then fast forward like a year and a half, and I'd only made it to Pakistan, up to the China border. And so I ended up spending like almost 6 months maybe in Pakistan, exploring the entire country. I kept extending my visa. And eventually I used accidentally so many times that I couldn't extend it anymore. My only option was to apply for a new visa. So I thought, okay, right, I said I'll cross into India now, because I can't stay in Pakistan any longer. I've maxed it out. Went to India through the Amritsar border, and found out my Indian visa had also expired because I spent too long. So pretty much every visa I got expired. So I had to go back from India, back to Pakistan, back to Lahore, and then was like, what do I do now? So my only option really was to apply for a new visa for Pakistan, which I could only get in the country I was born in, which is England. So I had to leave the bike in Pakistan, fly back to London, and get a new visa to fly back. And then I had an absolute nightmare with India, Pakistan visas, and was waiting for months and months. Eventually, it finally came through. And then about a week or so later, after getting my visa, coronavirus hit, and I'm still now stuck in England. But it was an amazing trip. And even though I'm only probably like a 10th of the way around the world, I've still got a whole way to go. My bike's still waiting for me for when all this ends. It was absolutely insane, and the people I met, everyone was just epic. And also, I didn't plan it very well either. So every time I went somewhere, it was always like the worst time of year. So I was going through like the Balkans and Eastern Europe in the middle of winter and like deep crazy snow, and then I was going through Iran in the middle of the summer in like 55 degrees in the desert, and then got to Pakistan when it was like rainy season and it was like deep floods. So basically, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Every single visa that could have expired, but it was epic. It was so much fun.
Awesome. So then, firstly, guys, as well, if anyone's got any questions for Ben, do put them in the feed. We're monitoring it, and if we can answer them to him, we will. I know some of you recognise him. Some people, Brad just said this is the most he's ever seen Ben in one spot. So that's good news. We managed to hold him down. So Ben, the plan is then.
That's good.
Because you obviously you've gone. You went a bit quiet since returning, for about a year or so. You've gone a bit quiet, but the plan is then to hit the road again, isn't it? You're gonna carry on.
Oh yeah, 100%. So obviously when I came back to England, I was posting every single day when I was on my trip. From 2017 to 2019, over those 2 years, I was posting every day, posting videos and photos, keeping my family and everyone up to date. And then I obviously came back to England and was waiting for these visas, and it just, every time I went online to post something, it just made me really sad, because I was like, oh, there's a photo of me when I was back abroad and having a fun time or whatever, or I'd see other people who were traveling and I got jealous. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stay offline. So I went completely off grid. Not off grid, I was living in Hertfordshire. I was offline.
Have we lost Ben here?
A bit there.
You're back,
Ben. You're back. Carry on. Carry on. You froze very.
So yeah, I don't know where I froze there, but
you froze
little sands come up.
Yeah, you've been off grid.
that was it. Yeah, I wasn't really off grid. I was offline. I'm Hertfordshire is not really off grid. But what was I saying? Yeah. So yeah, that was yeah. So basically, I stopped hosting because I just wasn't on the road. I went offline, and then I obviously I think I showed my face for the first time again at the Overland event just gone. And yeah. So but the plan is basically when all this ends, when it's free to travel again, I'll fly back to Pakistan and continue my trip. So fingers crossed, my bike's still there. Hopefully, it's still safe. And I can continue and finish this trip. And I mean, at the pace it's taken me so far to go from England to Pakistan, it could be another like 4 or 5 years before I actually complete this trip. So who knows? Who knows what will happen? But yeah, I will be finishing at some point.
So where is the bike then, Ben? Are you in touch with whoever's looking after it, or have you just chained it up somewhere and come home?
No, it's in super safe hands. It's actually crazy story. It's actually with the Prime Minister's sister. So the Prime Minister of Pakistan's sister is looking after my bike, which is mad. So it's like it could not be in safer hands.
Ben, I'm surprised you're struggling with visas.
No, I know. So luckily they were able to help because you obviously know it's like you have to get an invitation letter to go to certain countries, and so they were able to help out with the invitation letter and all that stuff. But then when it came to the actual visa processing in England, they had no authority over that, so I was kind of left alone for that. But they managed to help as far as they could,
right,
with getting the visa. And yeah, the guy he's looking on a bike he's a biker himself, so he was riding my bike, every few weeks just to keep the battery going. So I hope if you're watching this right now, Abdulahad, I hope you're having fun on my little CRF. I hope it's not been crashed yet.
Love it. So Ben, you got stuck in Pakistan for quite a while just exploring. It clearly captivated you, like you really like Pakistan. Tell us a little bit about it. I've always wanted to go and never been, so what's it like there?
Oh, it's nothing like I ever imagined it was going to be. So before I went to Pakistan, I thought same as with Iran as well. I thought Iran and Pakistan was just going to be deserts and camels and mud huts, and I think it's stereotypical stuff that you think of. And then I got there, and yeah, Pakistan was. I mean, Baluchistan. When you cross from Iran into Pakistan and you hug the bottom of the Afghanistan border, that's really deserty and barren. And then you head into Punjab and up north, up into the Himalayas and the Karakoram Mountains, and it's lush green mountains. It's kind of like Switzerland on steroids. It's just insane. Got these amazing lakes, and it was just awesome. So the landscape is incredible. The food is unbelievable. I hope if you go to Pakistan, I hope you like spicy food because they just put spice on everything. Even the ice cream, they put spices on the ice cream, which is just mad. No, they actually do. It's weird. And then the people are so friendly. I like the Iranian people and the Pakistanis. They're just the most loving people. And everywhere you stop, I'm sure you found this as well. Everywhere you went, but you pull up on the side of the road just to like check your GPS or I don't know, have some water, and you'll be surrounded in seconds by people saying, "Oh, come back to my house for food," or "Come and stay the night," or "My cousin's getting married, come to the wedding." Like it's just amazing. So the people of Pakistan were just so welcoming. And yeah, so I can't wait to get back there because it makes you realize everyone in England is just so like if you broke down on M25 in England, you'd literally be waiting on the side of the road for like weeks before someone stopped and helped you. Whereas in Pakistan, within 5 seconds, someone would help you out. It's amazing.
That's cool. That's very, very cool. So you're quite a young guy then. You set off 3 years ago, so early 20s. I mean, it's quite a big thing to head by motorcycle to places like Iran, Pakistan. You mentioned the people obviously really friendly, which is great. But, when you are going to these countries, are you slightly nervous, or is it just excitable, Ben, and just see what happens next?
Yeah, I never.
Hey up. Ben's paused there. We'll wait a second.
Oh wait, hold on.
There you go. You're back.
Have I unfrozen?
You're back now. Carry on.
There we go. So So yeah, I never really did any planning or thought much about anything. Now looking back now, I mean, maybe it's a bit naive, but actually it always worked out. So by not doing any research, I just would do something, and then it was only when I look back on it now that I realized how stupid that was. But at the time, I didn't think, so I didn't get scared or whatever. So I just went for it, and it actually kind of worked out quite well. The only time I was ever scared was going from Azerbaijan to Iran, because I left it up. You have until so your visa. They give you a date, and that's not when the visa expires. That's when you have to enter the country by, and then you can enter the country by that date, and then your visa starts from then. So I had until a certain date, until midnight, to enter the country, and then my 3 months started, whatever. And I stupidly left it up until the last day when I could enter. Oh no, I think I'm frozen again. Am I frozen? Oh, no, I'm not.
You're right.
And,
You're okay.
And I had like 2 hours left or something, and it was pitch black. And I'm crossing from Azerbaijan into Iran, and I get there, and the border's closed. It turns out it closes at like 9 p.m. I turn up there at like 11 or something. And I'm like, no. So I start giving out cigarettes to all the border guards, and they actually opened up the border for me, the international border from Azerbaijan to Iran, and they sent me through. And that was like this, and then it was a super like crazy process, the whole thing. And then the same thing happened to Iran. I got to Iran, and also Iran was also closed, but they ended up opening up the border gates for me as well, and they called the guy to come and stamp from his home to stamp the carnet for me, which was amazing. But that was, I crossed like in the middle of the night, pitch black, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Iran. That was the only time I was ever actually scared. But looking back now, that was actually probably the best border crossing I ever had. It was so smooth. But that was, yeah, I think that was the only time I was actually worried. All the other times were just, yeah, everything always just fell into place. And I think if I'd done research, I would have been more stressed. So yeah, honestly, yeah, just winging it actually kind of worked out all right. Although clearly it didn't, because I'm back in England without a visa, so clearly it didn't work out. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I love the thought, Ben, of you just turning up to the border and just be like, hey, can I come in, please? Can I come in? And just like asking to come in the middle of the night. It just like causing chaos all around the world on your little bike. But everyone's just like, yeah, let him in, a little git.
But so funny thing with the Iran one. So anyone watching this who's been will know that you can't, as a British person, you can't go to Iran, or you can go, but you got to pay to have like a guide to take you through the country.
Yeah.
But luckily, my mum's Irish, so I have got an Irish passport and was able to go in with the Irish passport. So I went through all this hassle of getting an Irish passport just to go to Iran. And then as soon as I arrived at the Iran border, they said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, I'm from England." And they were like, "But you got an Irish passport?" And I was like, "Oh crap, I'm half asleep. Sorry, my mistake. I'm actually from Ireland. Sorry, I forgot about that." And they're like, "Weird." They said, "Oh, where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Belfast." And they said, "Isn't that from Northern Ireland?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, these border guards are incredible." I'm like, "Crap, yeah, you're right. Actually, I'm from Dublin in Southern Ireland." And they're like, "Interesting." And then they said, "But your bike's from London." I said, "Oh yeah, well, I was born in Dublin, but I moved to Belfast when I was a kid, and I moved to London to get a motorbike. And now I'm, and the whole story sounded so mad, but I was half asleep and so like just I was so crazy going to Iran. I almost blew it by saying I was from England with an Irish passport, because I forgot that I was traveling with 2 passports. So that was a lucky escape. But yeah, so don't try and con the Iranian guards. They are smart.
I can imagine. That sounds mad. Yeah, we've got loads of questions coming in here. We've got the usual feedback for you, Ben. James Warder said he has to be Austin Vince's son, right? Yeah. We've all said it a few times now. I think you nearly rode off wearing one of Austin's jumpsuits.
Look, I genuinely still have one of his jumpsuits. So Austin, if you're watching, you're not getting it back.
I love it.
Awesome. What I would say, Ben, as well, that people did want a bit more information on how you know the Prime Minister's daughter. What is the backstory? What? Sorry.
Yeah, Prime Minister's sister. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they do want a bit of a backstory on that. How did you come to know the Prime Minister's sister, Pakistan?
Well, it's really funny. I was posting photos on Instagram, Facebook, and over the years, bikers from all over the world would start messaging me saying, when you get to this country, you can stay here. I'm sure you had the same as well. People from all over the world say, when you get here, we'll service your bike or buy.
Is he gone again? He'll probably come back in a minute, guys, I think.
Oh,
you're back.
Hello,
Ben?
have I returned?
Yeah, you're back. Carry on.
I'm back. Yes. I literally no idea where I was in that story, but basically, I was posting on Instagram when I was on my trip, and bikers from all over the world would get in touch. And one of the guys was this guy Abdullah Had, who said, "Hey, when you get to Lahore, I'd love to host you. You can meet all my biker club. We'll go for a ride, whatever." I had no idea who he was, so I went in Lahore and met this guy and stayed at his house. And I remember, I think it was like when we were celebrating Eid, like the kind of the equivalent of like a Muslim Christmas. That's probably a really bad way of putting it, but you know, like a big festival. And I'm really just slaughtered now online for that. But you know, anyway, so and there was always sort of people around and like paparazzi kind of thing. And I was thinking, so I said to the sons of Abdullah, I said, "What's with all the cameras?" He said, "Oh, it's my uncle. He's just been sworn in as the prime minister." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Wait, so your mum is Imran Khan's sister?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "That's crazy." So anyway, so when it came to me having to leave the country and get my visa sorted out, they said, "We'll look after your bike for you." So yeah, they've been absolutely amazing. So that's how. Oh, also, actually, even funnier was when I was in the Himalayas up north in northern Pakistan, right by the China border. I was in this cafe and I became friends with this guy who owns he's a local guy. He owns a coffee shop and he's an ex-colonel in the Pakistan army. And he actually, when back like 40 years ago, he actually trained the current prime minister of Pakistan, because Pakistan has a prime minister and president. He trained the current president of Pakistan when he was a cadet, and they remained friends. So when I was in the mountains, this guy who I met said, "Oh, do you want to meet the president?" And I was like, "Yes." So I ended up having tea with the president as well when I was in the Himalayas, which was nuts. Like, it was awesome. So hopefully some of these people can help me with my visa, because I know that's like the two like top people in the country. And they even got me to sing like this. You know, like there's like a political song for each party has a political song, and I learned this political song, and they got me the president to stop, and the president would all listened while I got up and like just butchered this little Pakistani song. There's like I can't say the Queen kind of thing. Just butchered it in our language. The president.
Ben, you put yourself way on the spot there, mate.
I've got a camera somewhere.
We've got to hear it. Ben, you put yourself on the spot there, man.
I can't remember much, but it goes. Wait, what's it? Rock Sakoto, rock laho, tabdili aire, tabdili aire, tabdili aire. Rock Sakoto, rock laho, tabdili. That's the song. It's so catchy. It's amazing. It's called Tabdili Aire. Google it. It's great. Right.
And you've sung that to the president of Pakistan.
Yeah. It's all in Urdu or Punjabi. No, what it actually means. I think it means like freedom is coming or peace is coming or something, or change. No, it means change will come. That's it. And it's for PTI, the Pakistan Political Party or something. The song is actually great. Go on YouTube. It's awesome. And I sang that to the president, which is mad.
Well, that is a very cool. That is a very, very cool thing to do. I would say, fair play, mate. I don't think many people can say they sang that to the president of Pakistan. So there you go. Yeah. I'd probably say we are roughly around about out of time here. I think. So we're going to have to call it there, Ben. But obviously, when you do get back on the road, or if you just want to catch up on some of the things you have done already, the King on the Road, Ben King, he will be back on the road at some point. And in the meantime, you can see him pottering around the UK. So, yeah, thanks so much for joining us, mate.
It's been a pleasure. It's been awesome.
We'll see you soon. All right.
Cheers, Ben.
Yes.
Thanks so much, mate.
Ciao.
Bye. Catch you later. Ciao, man. I love that. Every time he leaves the room. Yeah. Honestly, what I would suggest when you're watching, if you live anywhere near Ben, just order your food off Waitrose, and one day you'll just get a really excitable delivery driver turn up. I'd love to have Ben deliver my food.
You keep ordering.
Yeah.
Keep ordering. The law of averages, eventually he will deliver your food.
Yeah. Hey, I've got your food. I've got your food here. It's going to be awesome. Love it. That was some mad stories in there. He sang a song. How did he just get himself so in with like the top of the tree in Pakistan? Unbelievable.
Well, he's a very friendly guy, isn't he?
He is a very friendly guy.
I mean, what I would say about Ben in general is me and Matt, when we were going around the world, we saw Ben was going around the world, had a few chats about meeting up at some points, but our paths never crossed. But we watched his videos. We were like, "There's no way this guy is actually like this. How can you keep that up?"
Yeah.
And then we met him, and we were like, "Wow, that is him." You know, he's that excitable and that welcoming. So yeah, he's very cool, and that was awesome. Sorry about the slight delays in the internet every now and again. We managed it just about, and we managed to have a bit of a chat with Ben, so that's cool. What's to come, Matt?
What's to come? We've got all sorts to come. If you're just joining, then next up after this short bit where this is the time now, if you want to go make a cup of tea or anything, please do. But after this, we've got Awaken coming up, which is a about 30-minute film, 25 minutes, something like that. And it's made by the guys at Sun God. It's basically a low impact, really high end, proper production values film filmed in 3 different places. 3 different groups of adventurers adventuring in their backyards and talking about how climate change and is affecting their places they adventure where they are, and the shots are just unreal. So it's going to be a good one. That
absolutely. And then after that, we've got the Frozen Road. Ben Page cycled around the world in 2014, and he came to the Canadian Arctic. And the Frozen Road, if you like, and it's an unbelievable film. How he managed to film it in those conditions is unbelievable. So that will be shortly afterwards, and we'll be having a chat with Georgina from Sun God after the first film, and then Ben after as well. It's worth saying, guys, that there are still competitions going. You've got a bit longer to go into the festival map and try and get the 2 tickets to the Day 4 Honda Adventure Centre via the Honda Motorcycles tent. We're going to be closing that whilst Awaken is playing. There's a few other ones that are currently running we haven't mentioned yet. Obviously, if you've missed any of the Armchair Adventure Festival and you would like to catch up, you can do. If you go to get a backstage pass, which is just £2, you can catch up on any of the festival, and you'll be able to do it for a little while yet as well. And we were having a chat earlier. We thought anyone who does sign up for a backstage pass could be in the chance of winning an Overland event ticket. So keep that in mind. And of course, Matt, we've also got our next Armchair Adventure Festival event, Boot Camp.
Boot Camp's coming up. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. So that's the next thing we do with Armchair Adventure Festival. We're taking it to a kind of different vibe. So this has all been like presentations, telling our stories and things like that. Whereas Boot Camp is about workshops, masterclasses, and information-based presentations. There'll be a bit of inspiration, fun stuff too, but it's about learning how to do all these adventures, ride around the world, row oceans or whatever it might be, but also how to film them really well. We've got Austin Vince coming in to do a how to film your adventure masterclass. We've got Simon and Lisa Thomas doing a photography masterclass. Sam Mannequin's talking about what kind of gear you might want to take for different kinds of adventures, and we've got Steph Jevons talking about solo travel, already booked in those guys. So that's going to be going on in February, and we're going to be doing a load more people on it as well. So get yourself signed up for that. This weekend we're doing a discounted special festival rate, so it's £25 to sign up for it instead of £45, and you get a free festival notebook too to take all those notes down, which is important. I've got one here. That's what I use this for. So nice bit of kit.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's £25 as long as you sign up before the end of the Armchair Adventure Festival this weekend, when it should normally be £45. Have we got a competition running on that? I feel like we do as well, Matt, don't we?
We do have a competition. Hang on, mate. Let me just check my notes here.
Check your presents.
Yeah, shall I check my presents? I have actually got these so I can actually unwrap it, and there is actually a present in there because I thought I might do that, but I never actually did it. Shall I unwrap one?
But is there something in there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, unwrap it. Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll unwrap this, guys. Now, this is going to be what you could win if you sign up for Boot Camp. Okay, here it goes, Reese. It's just a thing that says what it is. It's a pair of Sun God sunglasses.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you could win a pair of Sun God sunglasses if you sign up to Boot Camp before the end of the night. So go for it. Sign up and see what happens. Yeah. Okay, mate. So that's all the stuff going for Boot Camp. Check it out on the festival map. If you don't know where the festival map is, it's because you've just come to YouTube. So go on to armchairadventurefestival.com, sign up for your free front row seat. You'll get an automated email back, check your spam, and it will say, take me to the festival. just click take me to the festival, and then you'll see this whole festival map with all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be probably finishing here around about 10 p.m, but the festival map will still be there. You can go and check out the information tent, which sounds boring at first name, but actually it's got the Armchair Adventure Festival program in there as well. There's a few adventurous stories, one written by Sam Manicum, one written by Victoria Levitt, who is part of the Armchair Adventure Festival team. There's one little excerpt from Carl Bushby as well, which it links to a big piece that he's written for the Armchair Adventure Festival specifically about why he decided to try and walk an unbroken path from Argentina back to his home in Hull. And anyone who missed that last night when he was chatting about that expedition, it was absolutely mind-blowing, some of the things that he's done. So we would strongly recommend watching it back if you can via a backstage pass, because it really is cool. He's been going on the road, left in 1998, and it's 2020 and he's still going.
It was a mad presentation, that. Yeah. Really, really incredible. Mate, I will just say, I've just been checking the stuff. That's why I've been looking down here and checking the charity pages and things like that. So far, we've got £2,340 on the fundraising page. But also, people have been texting to donate to win that Shepherd's Hut thing. So we've got £105 raised on there. So guys, the odds are pretty good on that right now to win that Shepherd's Hut if you want to do that. And so that means, Reese, if I carry the one, we're at £2,445. So we are, what's that, 55 quid off, making
£55 off. So if we had 11 people text to try and win that prize,
or just text 11 times if you really want to win it, and then you can be the person that carries over. So it's 700, so 70085, and you text Hill, the word Hill, to 70085, HILL, 70085, and you could win 2 nights in a shepherd's hut, luxury shepherd's hut, roll top bar, glass roof. It looks gorgeous. So yeah, the odds are really good, and go for it, try and win it. And yeah, we'll find out if there's a winner. So what else is going on, Reese?
I think that's it.
That's it. Okay, what's the time? We've got 13. So now really is the time to get some popcorn and stuff. We've got a couple of minutes till we're playing Awaken, make that brew, all that sort of stuff. I tell you what, that was fun chatting to Ben King, wasn't it?
It was fun.
Internet, but...
It was a little shame on the internet, but you still got the feel of just how excitable he is. Yeah, he's a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm pleased to see he's back. He's shown his face a little bit more. He did disappear for a while. It's nice to have him floating around again. So that's always good. And obviously before that, it was Notier's Frontiers. And fair to say, they're in Kenya at the moment, Nanyuki by the equator. And yeah, I mean, again, very, very cool trip. And they've got another book coming out, Blood, Sweat, and No Tears. Which is,
nice.
Which is pretty cool, isn't it? That's a good name, actually.
It is a good name. To be fair. Yeah. Very good name. I look forward to when Ben gets back out on the road, mate, just so I can hear some more of these stories, because he's just like, he's going to get up to all sorts of crazy stuff, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really know much about Ben's trip, on this. I had no idea that he'd met the president and the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And he's
wrote a book.
Yeah, he has. Well, backstage, I think he has.
I don't think he's released it yet. Yeah, I think he needs some encouragement, but he has wrote a book apparently in general. So if you're watching this, Ben, get it out. Why not? I think people would love to read your story. I bet it's absolutely hilarious. So there you go. How are we looking? I think we're pretty much there, aren't we?
We're nearly ready to play Awaken. Yeah. So here comes Awaken. Then let's play it. This is Awaken. It's a Sun God film, and it's being put together by Georgina Craig, who'll be joining us for a live Q&A after the screening. So we'll play that now. Don't forget, guys, it's the last chance to enter that competition in the Honda tent. So we're going to draw the winner while this is being played. But don't go too far. Make sure you watch this. It's going to be an absolute cracker of a film. Awaken. Let's play it now. Cheers, Todd.
People come to Revelstoke for the POW and the terrain. We've got incredible snow, storm skiing, pillow lines, all that sort of stuff that's right outside our front door. It's cool when you go on these types of trips where over the course of a couple of days, you sort of see everybody's high highs and low lows, and it's pretty telling. You get to know people really quickly, and in a lot of cases, you start to respect things about people that you didn't know they had in them, or maybe the opposite sometimes. But it's a really cool environment to get to know people.
Let's go play in the mountains and find some things to see and jump off of. Getting outside and doing something just keeps things new and exciting. It pushes you, it tests you, kind of keeps everything fresh.
I think so much of what we do on a day-to-day basis is so contrived by us, by humans. When we go out and have these types of adventures, for me, it's almost meditative. You know, it's like one foot in front of the other. And usually the biggest problem that I have is the snow's too deep, or which line am I going to take? And it really helps you to live in that moment and not really worry about the bigger picture issues. Most of the adventures that I go on, we're not really relying on man-made things. We're out in the mountains for the most part, and you have no choice but to connect with nature, because your biggest obstacles are the ones that nature creates for you.
You know, for the 10 years that I've been in Revelstoke, seasonally we see different weather patterns. And although that's not an indication of overall climate change on a historical level, we are seeing changes where we can expect to see later snowfall starts and earlier rainfall events in the spring. It's really changing how we can expect to get out and adventure on a yearly basis.
Everyone talks about how deep the snow used to be around the Revelstoke area, and we still get massive snowbanks, but in the wintertime, some of the snowfall is falling as rain these days.
Yeah, so our snowpack right now is actually pretty good. But earlier in the year, actually not too long ago, about a week and a half ago, we had a whole bunch of snow, and then we had a warming event, and it rained all the way up to the peak. We're at like, I don't even know what we're at here, 66, almost 6,700 feet right here. Sorry, I'm working in feet. There's about 2 centimeters of rain crust with fairly well consolidated snow underneath it. Stability is pretty good. You had to hit it pretty hard to get it to go. So looks like we got about 60 centimeters of good skiing.
When you get out and adventure on a daily basis, you start to see how your actions impact the world around you. You appreciate the wild spaces that you do have, and you appreciate how those spaces affect others.
So we're really lucky in Canada that we get to go stand on mountain peaks and look around and see absolutely no civilization whatsoever. I think those moments really help a person to understand that there's more to life than the cities that we've built up, and that nature exists whether we're there or not. So having the accessibility to those sorts of moments in time I think it really helps people to connect with why any of this is important. For me, skiing is a creative outlet. I don't have a lot of things in my life that are creative endeavors, but when I don't have that physical outlet of creativity moving through the mountains, I struggle.
Getting out on adventures like we took help bring back the idea of simplicity. We don't need as much as we think we need. We can do a lot more with less. Getting out and testing our limits really shows how we can simplify our day-to-day life. Everything takes practice, including reducing our footprints and helping our climates. So getting out on an adventure like this, it helps us practice that skill of doing more with less. It helps us draw appreciation for the little things. And at the end of the day, we have a stronger connection to our community, to our environment, and to ourselves.
Chamonix, c'est la capitale du ski et de l'alpinisme. Du coup, il y a tout un ensemble de personnes qui sont performants à l'année et du coup, c'est unique. On trouve pas ça ailleurs.
Ce qui est unique avec Chamonix, c'est qu'on peut faire tout en une seule journée. On peut passer du ski de randonnée à la cascade de glace, à l'alpinisme, à vraiment tous les sports qui sont reliés avec la montagne. Et ce qui est bien aussi, c'est que c'est des montagnes quand même ultra brutes, assez agressives par rapport à d'autres montagnes qu'on pourrait trouver dans les Alpes.
Je pense pour moi, ce qui me rend heureux là-haut, c'est repousser mes limites et me faire un peu peur mentalement et physiquement. En prenant un petit peu de danger, j'aime bien ça.
Ce qui me rend heureuse en allant en montagne, c'est pas forcément de faire un sommet ou d'arriver en haut, mais c'est plus le cheminement, les émotions que je vais ressentir en fait pendant tout le trajet pour arriver en haut. Et ce qu'on retient à la fin de la journée, c'est pas le sommet, même s'il nous rend joyeux, mais tout le procédé avant qui s'est passé et tout ce qu'on a pu ressentir. En étant dans les montagnes, à Chamonix, ce qu'on peut vraiment observer ces dernières années, c'est la diminution au niveau de la mer de glace, des glaciers très particulièrement sur les dernières décennies et comment ça a fondu. Malheureusement, justement, à cause du réchauffement climatique, on a la glace qui fond de plus en plus. Là, par exemple, c'est le niveau de la mer de glace en 1990. Si vous regardez derrière moi, ça commence à faire pas mal. Donc voilà, c'est assez triste, mais d'un côté, c'est assez intéressant.
Alors du coup, aujourd'hui, on va essayer d'aller grimper dans la grotte de glace et avec le reculement du glacier, chaque année ça change et c'est un peu unique. Donc du coup, on va voir ce que ça nous donne aujourd'hui.
Ce qui est bien dans les grottes de glace, c'est les couleurs. On ne peut pas vraiment parler d'architecture, mais presque. C'est vraiment c'est très raffiné, c'est vraiment bien détaillé à l'intérieur et c'est vraiment très joli au niveau des couleurs.
C'est vraiment cool de grimper dans cette grotte de glace parce qu'on est dans le glacier et on est immergé dedans et l'atmosphère qui se dégage du glacier, il y a des couleurs bleues uniques. Et du coup, c'est assez technique de grimper dans ces grottes parce que c'est à l'horizontale. Et on n'est pas fait pour grimper à l'horizontale, il faut gainer, faut vraiment faut être sur ses abdos tout le temps. Pas de chèvre, c'est une course classique à Chamonix. C'était un grand classique à l'époque de mon père.
Ce qui est spécial avec le pas de chèvre, c'est qu'on est vraiment entouré de pas mal de montagnes. On se sent assez insignifiant face à l'immensité des rochers. Il y a les drues, par exemple, on a une vue panoramique sur toute la vallée de Chamonix aussi, c'est unique.
Du coup, on s'en rend vraiment compte nous-mêmes du réchauffement climatique sur le massif du Mont-Blanc, parce que c'est notre terrain de jeu, on est là-bas toute l'année. Du coup, on peut vraiment observer les dégâts que ça cause.
Ce qui est important à expérimenter en montagne, c'est que quand on y est, on est vraiment connecté avec l'environnement, la nature. On constate vraiment de manière plus réaliste les dommages sur un peu notre terrain de jeu, les impacts du changement climatique. Et ça nous change un peu d'être constamment sur nos téléphones et les réseaux sociaux et juste un peu voir au-dessus de cela. Mon comportement face à l'écologie n'est pas le plus parfait. De toute façon, il n'y a personne qui peut vraiment dire qu'il est parfait au niveau de ses actes face au changement climatique, à la pollution, etc. On ne peut pas tout faire. Mais par contre, quand je vais en montagne, que je fais des activités et que j'observe certaines choses qui dégradent énormément ou diminuent, par exemple les glaciers, ça fait prendre conscience que à notre échelle, il faut quand même essayer de faire ce qu'on peut pour éviter ce genre de désagréments dans le futur pour nos enfants, pour nos projets, pour nos montagnes.
Du coup, le pas de chèvre, c'est un grand classique à Chamonix, parce que il y a 20 ans, ça se faisait quasiment tout l'hiver, et maintenant, ça fait 5-6 ans que ça se fait presque plus. À cause du recul de la mer de glace, ça a créé une moraine, un gros tas de cailloux. Du coup, la solution qu'on a trouvée avec Jody, c'est de descendre en parapente à partir du plateau à la fin du pas de chèvre. On descend en parapente jusqu'à la vallée.
Ce qui est vraiment choquant avec le changement climatique, c'est ce qu'on constate en fait au fil des années entre ma génération et la génération de vos parents, de mes grands-parents, etc. Il y a des choses qu'on ne peut plus faire à cause justement des changements climatiques.
Je pense que nous avons beaucoup à faire pour changer tout le réchauffement climatique et le changement climatique. Mais avant tout, je pense que c'est important d'aimer l'environnement pour le changer. C'est d'aimer ce qu'on aime faire en montagne ou d'aimer partager un moment en montagne pour changer nos habitudes.
Ça, c'est la moraine qu'on aurait dû redescendre à pied.
Plus on fait partager l'expérience à des personnes qui ne font pas de montagne, plus ces personnes-là, elles vont avoir conscience du réchauffement climatique et du changement climatique. Je pense que c'est important de leur faire découvrir notre univers pour qu'ils se posent de bonnes questions et qu'ils changent leurs habitudes.
So many things are unique about adventuring in the Australian Alps. For me, what stands out is the flatness of the mountains there. This flat alpine plateau that you find in Australia, we quite fondly refer to it as the main range because it is a large alpine plateau opposed to your typical alpine areas, which are ridges or mountaintops. You can really move in that alpine space and exist in it and live in it for a long period. And that's really quite special and quite unique to Australia. Despite the flatness of the alpine plateau, or the main range we have here in Australia, it's not to say there isn't steep skiing. In what's sort of a fortunate or unfortunate state of affairs, the steep skiing is located a good 10 kilometers or so from our resorts. This means that if you're willing and able to ski it, a bit of backcountry, say, administration is required. Going out onto that main range really reminds you every time how small you are. You know, you've only got your legs for power, and when you have to travel up and over hills for multiple kilometers, you realize that the world is a big place, and there's still a lot of beautiful natural resources, especially here in Australia, that we can go out in and explore. Ski touring through eucalyptus trees is unreal. They're the best tree. They're beautiful. They're each one unique. They're small yet hundreds of years old. Being out in the wilderness is where I feel most alive. And even when I'm not out adventuring, just the knowledge and knowing that landscape is there and available to me makes me incredibly happy and grateful that I still have this natural playground to explore. The feelings I felt during the 2019-2020 bushfire crisis were a sense of uselessness or stress in being away from a home that was one bad gust of wind away from going up in flames.
Terrifying scale of Australia's bushfire disaster is beginning to emerge.
Bushfire crisis plaguing much of the country's south, and towns have been evacuated in both Victoria and South Australia.
I left Australia in November, just when the bushfire crisis was starting. And I remember thinking as I was leaving Sydney that this country is in trouble, and that I'm somewhat fortunate personally to be getting out of here. This bushfire crisis felt like a bad premonition coming true in Australia. Economists and scientists have been predicting that climate change is going to increase the likelihood of bushfires like these for years now, with almost incredible accuracy up into forecasting this happening during 2020 or after 2020. And you know, now the future is here, and we've got those conditions in Australia, and still action is not being taken to prevent that.
Definitely keen for some breakfast. Do a visit to the toilet. But how good's this?
Working as an alpine guide here in the Snowy Mountains gives me the opportunity to take many people out into the wilderness and share with them my passion for this space. For me, going out adventuring in the outdoors, it instills a sense of connection to the natural world. And climate change is quite simply a result of a disconnection between humans and the natural world. You cannot have a real adventure without the natural world. That's where we feel most thrilled. That's where we feel most alive. It's our venue. It's where we get into the flow state.
How awesome was that? That was unreal, eh?
Quite simply, going out into that space and adventuring creates a deep natural motivation to protect the natural world for both our benefit and for the benefit of the other species on this planet. I believe it is our responsibility as a species on this planet, a species that is causing this harm, to now do everything we can to negate the effects of climate change.
Wow, what a film that was. Amazing. Really incredible shots, especially towards the end there, that glowing snow stuff. It's like stuff in dreams. Amazing. Thanks so much for coming on. Georgina, welcome to the Armchair Adventure Festival stage. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you for showing the film.
No, thank you for putting it together. It's really brilliant. And thanks for letting us show it, because I know it's not actually online anywhere at the moment. So we feel quite privileged that we've somehow managed to muscle our way in on this festival circuit, and you're playing it for us. It was really brilliant to be able to show, and I'm sure there's lots of people on the stream been saying how good it was. Yeah, it's mad. It's quite a big concept to film something like that from all those different places. Like, talk to me a little bit about, like, tell us a little bit about where this idea came from to make a film like this.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I guess as a brand, because it's a slightly different angle, I guess, because it's come sort of from a brand as opposed to an individual, but we wanted to make a longer piece, and we wanted to use, importantly, our ambassadors, who are sort of dotted around the world. So the idea was to kind of try and use different groups of people in different locations, which made it quite tricky in the end. Logistically challenging, I think. But yeah, that was kind of where that came from. And then we wanted to do something a little bit environmental because we're working on that a lot as a company, and we're really well connected with our ambassadors. So we went out and sort of sought out some stories and thought about sort of the locations that we wanted to feature and the people we wanted to feature. So it kind of came about quite organically like that. But I didn't have an awful lot of time to turn it around the concept. It was just in the new year, and then we started filming about 2 or 3 weeks later. So it was quite a quick turnaround, but it came together nicely in the end.
Yeah, it is really cool. I mean, like you said as well, like it must be so really hard to sort of like I guess you're kind of the director, right? So it's hard for you to put something together. Like it mentions like no flights were taken. I think you mentioned you were only at one of the shoots as well, weren't you? So like to sort of
I went to the Chamonix shoot because I'm in Verbier, so it's only an hour away. But yeah, I wasn't like on set, and actually I didn't go to all of that shoot. I just went to the ice climbing bit, which was admittedly the cool bit. But yeah, it was that was quite tricky because I sort of refer to myself more as the producer because I wasn't like on set for the kind of directing. That was all done remotely. But in some ways, I think that's quite nice as well because we handed over some of the sort of creativity. The adventures themselves were led by the ambassadors and the riders in it, and then the sort of creativity by the videographers. So there's pros and cons to that. And although I would have loved to have gone to Revelstoke and Australia, it's just like as we said, it was trying to make it slightly more reduced emissions, and that would have really it actually is unnecessary. As much as I'd have loved to have done it. So yeah,
for sure. So the message, I guess, is really important for this. It's like a message-driven piece, if you like, and the message kind of behind it is like low impact, not flying everywhere and stuff, but also like get out and travel. So it kind of is a bit like, what do we do here? Because adventure in the back garden if you live in the Alps, but what
I admit that is true and that is tricky, but I do kind of believe, and I think maybe kind of this year because of the whole dare I say it, COVID situation, it's maybe forced us to look a little bit closer to home. And I admit not everyone has the Chamonix Alps or the Revelstoke Powder on their doorstep, but it doesn't mean that there isn't things to be done closer to home. And I'm not suggesting that people never travel, but I do think sometimes we look far away and actually there's so much to be done, even in cities on our doorstep that will sort of satisfy our thirst for adventure a little bit closer to home. And I kind of think this year people maybe have noticed that a little bit more. I certainly have here, although I admit it is the Alps. So, but yeah,
you're definitely right. I mean, we were chatting to people yesterday and stuff like, and yeah, I mean, obviously UK. I think everywhere you can. Like UK, you've got Scotland, you've got Wales. I mean, you've got all sorts of places as well. So it's one of them. And yeah, I don't know. But for me, it's kind of like it has definitely helped sort of appreciate what is close to home. I mean, I think I don't know. I suppose. It's unrealistic to think people aren't going to travel further and farther apart. That's nature of what people want to do and whatnot. But I think equally, yeah, like you said, appreciating things back home is important. I mean, like you said, I know you weren't on the actual actually when they were being filmed, some of those shots, but some of those shots in particular in Australia. I mean, you were saying that the filmmaker when he spoke to the day, what he said that's the shot of his life is what he called it.
He did say that was very lucky because that was actually shot in late August, so it was really tricky to kind of coordinate that shoot around everything that's going on. Obviously Australia at the time was in a bit of a tricky situation, and we had a sort of very short weather period to go in. The weather had been bad either side, and those shots were just one of those lucky moments. But definitely I think what it is that obviously that section is about the wildfires and it almost looks like the sky's on fire, and I think there's something something there that is just that kind of visual image is just worked out really nicely. And where they were is sort of the steeper of the lines that you're going to get in Australia, which gives it that slightly more dramatic scenery than maybe people would expect to see over there. So yeah, no, it was definitely an amazing shot, and he also managed to get some stills as well, which yeah, I think Jacob was pretty proud of those.
Yeah, so he should be. I mean, I said to Reese, when Reese said, should we play this film, showed me the trailer, I said it was the first thing I watched in ages where my jaw actually dropped. I actually felt it drop when that shot came on. Oh my God, it's just incredible. Yeah, so amazing. It was really cool to see all those like different stories around. I was thinking about the message behind it all, and I kind of think like the film kind of encourages you to go and travel. You watch it and you think, I really want to go skiing the Alps. I really want to go and see that stuff in Australia and do all that stuff. And I don't really necessarily think it's a bad thing to do that still, if you're kind of connecting with the nature, I guess. And then maybe like, that's kind of the point, isn't it? You're going to adjust your lifestyle in other ways, maybe to compensate so yeah, still.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think what we were trying to say as well, and Jodie says it in the Chamonix section, like nobody's perfect, and none of us lead perfectly ecological lifestyles, but it doesn't mean that we can't make certain choices along the way. Like, for example, when I made the film, I could have chosen to fly certain people around the world to be in the right place to film, as is often done for kind of big ski movies, and didn't need to do that. So you can just make certain choices along the way. And I think touring's really had a comeback recently in the last few years, or not even a comeback. It's it's just become quite fashionable almost, and I think people are realizing that human powered adventures and sort of more satisfying sometimes as well. So you can opt for doing things like that. So yeah, it's we're not saying don't travel with the no flights thing. I think it was more of a making the point that we'd chosen to make the film locally and about people seeing really out their back door what was happening with climate change, because sometimes I think in the developed world we don't always see that, and the guy in Australia said to me that he felt one of the standout things in Australia was that they were one of the more developed countries in the world that had really experienced a natural disaster that had shaken up their world, and he wondered whether it was really one of the main examples of where they had been shocked into the developed country had been shocked into the reality of kind of the devastation that climate change could cause. So that was one of the reasons that we went to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I mean, I think, yeah, when we're watching it in the wildfires and stuff like last year and whatnot, it was just,
it was shocking, wasn't it?
Crazy, yeah, really crazy. I mean, I suppose for you though, Georgina, that's your first, I guess, film, isn't it? That you've sort of, you edited it and everything like that. So that must have been a huge challenge for you, was it? Or
so I didn't do the actual cutting up, but there's in the actual editing of the film itself. But I guess it was my sort of storyboarding and the idea and the actual logistics. And then, yes, with the editor, I worked really closely, and I kind of, in some respect, I chose all of the kind of quotes we were going to use to build up and how the shots were going to be kind of laid out. And then Casper, the editor, did all the intricacies, obviously. But yeah, so yeah, it was certainly a challenge, but I did enjoy it. It's given me a thirst for it. And I think it's I really admire the people that I obviously wasn't in the film, and when people make a film about their own kind of challenge or adventure, I think that's amazing. And there's just some incredible stories out there to be told. And it inspires you to think, well, what could I do on that level.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing more stuff from you guys. Hopefully you can do more of those kind of films. And I think they don't take away from that part of it is an absolutely massive part of putting together this kind of film, because Ree said our films, and I do the bit that you did, and just the vision. I don't do that. Reese does that too, but it is really important stuff. Like to be able to get that, and to get that bit right is the crux of it. Really, that's where you get all the messaging and stuff. So I think congratulations, man, on putting together such a brilliant film and your first shot, a 30-minute or whatever. It's really very cool. So.
Yeah, it was meant to be. It started off as 4 minutes, and then it was 10.
Wow.
And I think that was lack of experience. Like I was going to put 3 locations in 4 minutes, and I don't really know how I thought that was all going to fit in. But it was definitely a learn on the job scenario. And I'm not an expert, and even now there's just so much. There's so much to think about, and there's things that I would do differently, and there's things that I think sometimes when the least experience you have, maybe you go in blindly, and sometimes that's a good thing. As well, because you're more ambitious than you would be if you knew more. I don't know, but it was. I'm looking forward to making another one, hopefully.
I look forward to seeing it.
on the hunt for some stories.
Cool, very cool stuff. Well, if you need a couple of scooter and sidecarists to star in one, just let us know.
I know where to find you.
Be local. Yeah. Well, listen, that's pretty much all the time we've got really to go through. But thanks so much for coming on, Georgina. Really appreciate it. And look forward to the next film. Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
No,
thanks.
Bye.
Catch you later. Bye. Cool. Yeah. So that was what a film. That is a really, really cool film. I really enjoyed that. And I think it's cool as well. We have so many people who do these massive adventures and whatnot, come on here and whatnot. And like Georgina says, you can find adventure anywhere, especially in like your own back garden and that and whatnot. So. I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was great. We've had a couple of issues maybe with the old texting, haven't we, Matt? The text to donate thing. Okay, so guys, basically, if you've had a text back to say thanks, you've donated, then you have donated. We've got you in the list. You're in the entry. If you haven't, then text the other new number. It's just not working for some people. I think maybe it was a time thing. It just stopped working at a certain time. But if you've had a text back, say thanks for donation, you're in the pot, you could get the prize. So that's how it works. So thank you so much. And if anyone has accidentally then donated twice, it still all goes to the charity. So that's really good. And if you do want your money back for the second one, like just let us know tomorrow or anything, and we'll get that all sorted out. So sorry if there's any confusion there. So if you've had a text back, you're in the pot. Yeah. Cool. And thanks for your text. We've been seeing them come in. I'll work it out and see where we are after the next film or something and see how much money we've raised. But that's really, really good. Mate, that was such a good film. And I saw your face turn like red with anger as I made that joke about being the creative vision behind the Sidecar Guys films. Don't worry. I would never make a claim for that. And there's good reason. I wash my hands. No, they're great films. And you can see one. It's coincidentally in Sidecar Corner. Pop over to Sidecar Corner and watch that. Reese's Vision. The book Matt's vision, it's heavily biased. It paints me in an awful light. And you can go to Sidecar Corner as well and check that out. So there you go. If you're interested in more stuff to do with it, going around the world on a scooter and sidecar, that's the stuff you can get. And you can get, if you order the book actually before the end of the festival, you get a bar of Tony's Chocolonely, don't you, Matt? Anti-slavery chocolate, because in the book, a pound from every sale from the book goes unseen. Modern slavery charity here in the UK. And the book, when we were riding, we learnt about modern slavery all around the world, and so we tried to raise a bit of money for Unseen. We raised like $7.5 grand for different modern slavery charities on our actual trip, and then we've raised a few quid for them since we got back too. So that's what it goes towards, and that's why you get some chocolate. So that's all good. Murray, I see your question about battery issues in the cold with filming and stuff. I hold that thought because I think that'll be a good question for after the next film, because I have no idea how this guy managed to film this stuff. Yeah, the only thing I can say is that when we were in Russia, for example, if we got our phones out to check the directions or something, within 5 seconds they turned off because of the cold. So it is definitely an issue. Ben will be a good person to tell that. What I would say, guys, is we've seen a few people in the comments, obviously, throughout the weekend and stuff, about the noise levels that go with the film sometimes. Apologies for that. I don't think it's with everyone. It's sometimes a thing with like films, like different bass levels and stuff from the makers and stuff, and it might not be matching up every time for people.
I know Todd's doing his best, but it's just sometimes the levels of each different film is a bit tricky that we get sent over by the filmmakers and whatnot. But hopefully it won't be too bad for most of you, and you can manage your end. What I would say, Matt, is before we do play the Frozen Road, we've got a few more minutes, so people can go and get some popcorn. They can go and get a drink. I might go and get a Baileys shortly because, you know,
Baileys.
I started drinking Baileys recently. I really
You
like it.
haven't?
Yeah, it's
Really?
lovely. Yeah, really like a Baileys. Yeah.
You like a Baileys?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
I can't believe that, mate.
What's wrong with a Baileys?
Someone's paid you a tenner to say that on screen.
We're sponsored by Baileys now.
Someone said, mate, say you drink Baileys. You don't drink Baileys, do you?
Yeah, I'll come back with Baileys later if you like.
Gross. I hate Baileys.
Well, I thought that, and then I had one. I was like, this is nice. Yeah, it's all right. But we should be talking about Baileys because I really wanted to reveal the winner of the Daythorpe Honda Adventure Centre.
This person wants some Baileys, mate, in celebration.
Yeah, so this person is going to really want that. So we put so we had quite a few entries come through. It's now closed, and we put it into the use a random number generator picker to pick the person who has won 2 tickets to the Daythorpe Honda Adventure Centre, and they're going to be very, very lucky because they get to try the Africa Twin, brand new Africa Twin they have every single year there, and we had a go. It's unbelievable, and the guys, the actual instructors, are really, really quite talented as well. And we
great day out.
Yeah, it really is. Whether you're a good rider or or you're an absolute basic beginner rider, it doesn't make a difference because we're as basic as they get. And we had a blast. But equally, the instructors, some of the trails, they wouldn't let us go up. But if you are advanced, I'm sure they'll let you go up. And we can reveal. Do you know who it is, or do you want me to go for it?
I actually don't know who it is, and I'm hoping it's Matt Bishop.
Did you enter? Did you enter?
No.
Right. Well, you've got to be in it to win it, Matt, haven't you?
Yeah, I saw that Vanessa Ruck entered.
Did she?
Yeah, did she win?
No, she didn't. She didn't. I can tell
right.
you guys. I can tell you guys that congratulations, if they're sat there right now, Chris Shepherd. Chris Shepherd, you've won yourself 2 tickets to the Daythorpe Honda Adventure Centre. To do get in touch, we'll make sure we get that sorted for you, Chris. Thanks everyone who entered the competition. Apologies that you didn't win, but equally, as we were saying, it's an unbelievable day, guys. And if you do sign up to the Daythorpe Honda Adventure Centre before the end of this evening, there's 15% off. So that's an unbelievable discount, and it really is cool. It's a great day out. If you go for a 2-day, you can go for dinner, and they cover dinner in the evening.
You're going to say that.
Yeah,
honestly, and the reason it sounds stupid, you go and run these Africa Twins and stuff, and it's amazing. But the dinner on the first night is unreal. It's like Michelin star level food.
I think it is Michelin star.
I think it actually was. That's why I felt confident saying that. Or what used to be a Michelin star chef or something. It's another level of food.
So you're probably looking at, I think for a 2-day course, I think I might be wrong here, but I think if you get the 15% off, you're looking at around about just over £400 for 2 days riding and lunch included on both days and Michelin star dinner on one evening, which is not bad, is it?
No, it's not bad. Well, and also, mate, the thing is, you can just crash their bikes. And I know they might not like me for saying that, but it's not your bike at the end of the day, isn't it? So you can just go and have fun on these lanes and not worry about the fact you've got to repair it when you finish. So
yeah, but you do have to listen to what they're saying. We had an accident, basically where someone didn't listen. You know, as long as you listen,
no, I didn't listen.
If you don't listen, you could be controlled. But yeah, you can crash. We crash all the time.
Yeah, I didn't put the kickstand down.
It doesn't hurt though. The gear they give you is fantastic.
Yeah, let's not get into it. We've been into this before. Let's not get into this again.
Okay.
So that's it, guys. We're going to be coming up with another film fairly soon. Thanks everyone who's doing the text to donate thing. If you're enjoying the show, you can just donate by the tip jar as well. It all goes to the charity, all supporting the sustainable agriculture training for women in Hawaii, Western Kenya. And really good stuff. So the next thing that's coming up now is going to be Ben Page's film, The Frozen Road. And I think we can play it now, actually. If there's anything else to add, Reese? No?
No. So Todd, when you're ready, The Frozen Road, please. Guys, enjoy.
Here I am, 24 years old, professionally unemployed, and getting a lot of snow in my face. I'm in Canada's Yukon Territory. It's late winter, and I'm cycling to the end of the American continent, halfway through my ride around the world. My route would carry me almost 2,000 kilometres north, through one of the world's last great wildernesses, to the Inuit village of Tuktoyaktuk, perched on the shores of the frozen Arctic Ocean. But as a boy from England, this was a long way from anything I knew. On a map of my experiences, it lay somewhere beyond its edges. So I chose a camera as my companion to tell my story, although most of the time, I seemed to cycle past it or cycle into it. I spent the first week on small trails that snaked through the Yukon's great wild spaces, my tyres following the century-old footsteps of prospectors, men who, like me, had stood on their own map's edge and wanted to take a peek at what lay beyond. Although generations apart, perhaps we shared that same heady concoction of fear and excitement, that same need to seek Thoreau's tonic of wilderness. I was crossing frozen lakes and rivers for the first time in my life, riding through thick snowy forests, past towering mountains. Each night I lay alone in my tent, listening to the rumbling sound of ice shifting beneath me. And each new day, the creak of my bike and rasping breath would try and break the great white silence that suffocates sound here. It felt like I was living between the pages of a Jack London novel, and all I needed now was to find myself a little log cabin somewhere.
Oh. Wow. What a view.
You see the Sunday bird swinging low, and the fever in your brain only grows, and the murder boys are running down.
Well, this definitely beats staying in a tent. Cabin's got pretty warm, it's pretty cosy, looking out through the window. They're like the last remnants of light in the sky, and it's a really nice setting. I think it's time for me to go to sleep.
Or take the world and burn it in his spoon. A mercy ship to sail you off to sleep, to where the crimson angels swim the deep. There's no hiding from the mightiest of gods.
Yeah, these places are great, but at the same time I'm experiencing it all just by myself. And there is this big duality on solo travel trips between loneliness and solitude. You can feel so happy in those moments of solitude where you're just like, it's just me, and there's a huge philosophical side to doing big trips. I've never really felt the same amount of just pure happiness and elation unless I'm doing something by myself. I feel that me pushing my own boundaries and the inherent risks in being alone and just bring more rewards with it. But then on the flip side, there is definitely that side of me that wants to be sharing it with someone. As soon as I hit this Dempster Highway and start making more kilometres north, that's when it's going to hit me with the cold, because I'm so inexperienced with it. I mean, I'd rarely ever see snow. So this is all new to me.
I was moving further north now, leaving the old Gold Rush trails behind me and following the Dempster Highway, a gravel road that cuts through mountains and tundra, past the Arctic Circle to the frozen sea that was my finish line. It was cold and desolate here, and, save for the occasional truck or herd of caribou, I was the only soul around. The weather could be extreme. Storms, winds, bitter cold. I couldn't help but be moved by the might of it all. It made me feel very small. When I told friends back home where I was going to cycle, I was often met with, "Why?" I guess it looked to them like a pretty pointless task. But I think it's important to feel small sometimes, to gain that sense of place. And riding north, I realised it was this that was the real purpose in what I was doing.
The world around me is pretty calm right now. Life feels really calm. It's one of those moments where everything just seems like it's fallen into place. Where there's none of this questioning and worrying and thinking about what path to be leading. As soon as you're somewhere like this, it all kind of just makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it's just really, really calm, very contented. Oh, I love going on trips like this. What a journey! Almost at the end of my first real leg. Started bottom of South America down there, and then somewhere in that big blue haze over there is the Arctic Ocean, where I'm finishing the Americas and heading to Asia. What a place. Having the time of my life. Well, good morning, and have a look outside my bedroom window. Not bad, eh? Not bad at all.
I reached a small hamlet, high above the Arctic Circle, a chance to resupply my food and take a look at a map. Locals told me of a possible route north down the frozen Peel River that would stay open until new snow came. It would be a welcome detour from the Dempster Highway, so I went to find out more.
Go from here all the way down the Peel, and right here you're going to see it's about miles, is 12 miles in mileage. Right here the road goes this way, the ice road. Just follow this road. You go this way, and then you just follow it. You can't go wrong. Right to the end of town, and just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's going to take you right to the river. Yeah, and once you get to the river, you just go.
Before I left town, some guys approached me and told me that a pack of wolves had been spotted on the river a couple of days earlier. I weighed up the risk and decided to continue. It was only going to be a 2-day detour anyway.
Yes!
It was exhilarating riding down the river, the wildest place I'd ever been for sure. But it's funny how emotions can seesaw out here. As the sun began to set, I started to worry about what lay in the woods.
Oh, I'm so scared of this threat of wolves. And I don't know if I'm being completely irrational, but then the only person I can reason with is myself. And I'm just going around in circles, telling myself that it's fine and telling myself that no, I need to be careful. And just over and over again, just can't decide. All I want to do is just share the weight of the decision with someone. But it's just me. Any stupid situation I get myself into, I've got to get myself out of. Oh.
Overnight, I'd become trapped on the river. There'd been a storm forecast for later that week, but it had come early. I hadn't bargained for this. I was 60 kilometres from the town at the end of the river, 60 kilometres from help. A long way to haul my heavy bike through deep snow in Arctic temperatures. I had a day and a half's worth of food left, and I knew that somewhere in the trees there was a pack of wolves, hungry after a long winter. I was becoming trapped in my mind. Fear, hunger, loneliness, they all began to take control.
You do question why I'm doing it. The ups and the downs, when I'm still no happier for it. Oh, man up, Ben.
This is solitude rolled up in your chair. You're never alone. You're never alone.
I told myself I'd have a really positive mind today, but when it's as empty as this, I just feel so alone. I don't like this. I don't want to be here. I want to just... I want to have that wonderful option of just handing in my ticket and saying, right, that's me done. In a place I've no experience, I've never been, I don't really know where I am.
Oh. Hey there!
Oh. Hello, Nick. Hey, yeah, we found a guy at Husky River. Yeah, it's okay. It's right at the Husky River. It's right at the mouth. Yeah, he's on his way. Yeah, it's not too far from Eddie.
Unknown to me, the village at the end of the river had dispatched their search and rescue, as I'd not been seen since before the storm. They found me just a few kilometres away from the town. The seriousness of my situation was brought home by the gun they carried for the wolves and the body sled they towed behind them. I'd been pushing for 3 days, almost 50 kilometres. Trapped in my own head, romantic solitude had turned into a nightmare of isolation. The same thought had kept repeating itself, that if the worst happens, then nobody, not even my family, know where I am. Travelling solo can be like walking a tightrope. I'd pushed my limits looking for that sense of solitude, that sense of fulfilment, but I'd been knocked off and learnt the full reality of being alone. I can't lie, I was shaken by what I'd been through, more than I think I caught on camera. I was ready to go back home, but I knew that I couldn't. I'd set off over a year ago to cycle around the world, and this was only the end of my second continent. I needed to show myself that I could do it. And so, I found myself waking up one morning on the crust of a frozen ocean, a million miles away from where I thought I'd ever be.
So cold. But this is the last day of cycling. Oh, 60 kilometers to go. And then I'll have hit the Arctic Ocean, the Arctic Sea. And I'll be finished. Oh, man, am I glad to be finished.
They say it's a matter of time, 1,000 days and the sun won't shine before I come back to you. And I'm happy, nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home, I'm making my way.
I don't think I quite realised just how much this ride has taken its toll on me. But
And it's a rocky road to realising your dreams, but there is no other road I'd rather be following.
The best ride on rounds. I know I'm coming back to you, and I'm happy. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm making my way home. I'm making my way. I go solo. Oh, I go solo. I'm making my way home. I'm making my way.
At last, the finish line! What a sight for some very sore eyes.
I thought about ending my story here, but that wouldn't be the whole truth. I'd always known that there would be no welcome party when the road finally stopped. So, instead of walking off into a sunset, I sat in the bathroom of a small store, the only warm place I could find, and thought about the lessons this journey had taught me. Maybe I'd proved something to myself by going beyond the edges of my map, that any man who is a man can travel alone. But I also realised that perhaps finish lines are better shared.
I go solo, oh, I go solo. I'm making my way home. I'm making my way.
Blimey, wow, what a film. That is absolutely unbelievable. What a way to finish the Armchair Adventure Festival. And we're joined now with Ben. Ben, how are you?
Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm good, thank you, yeah.
Good stuff. Just so everyone's aware, obviously now's the time to get your questions if you've got any questions for Ben, and we'll put as many of them as we possibly can to him. I've got a feeling there's going to be quite a few. I think we're going to probably talk about the sort of the dedication to filming and all sorts, but I think firstly, you're in that tent and those wolves start howling. That must be petrifying, surely.
Yeah, it was, I mean, so I kind of like explain it in the film a little bit, but there's a bit more of a story around it. So I'd heard that there was this pack of wolves roaming. There's lots of wolves up there, but there's in one particular place, there's a pack of wolves that had been spotted up there. And so people had offered me their guns. They were like wolves are fine normally in winter, but you know it's getting close to the end of winter. They've had 4, 5, 6 months probably of feeling a bit hungry. So just be really careful. Take a gun if you want. And I was being a Brit, I was like, I'm not touching a gun. No, thank you very much. No, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first night on the river. As soon as the storm passed and like the tent flapping, which was scary in a sound in itself, as soon as that passed, then just faintly this little howling started, and that kind of continued for the next few nights. So I never actually saw them. I couldn't climb the banks of the river to get into the trees. I'd been warned that the best way is to keep a small fire stoked outside your tent to ward them off. But I couldn't climb the banks to get any firewood, so I was kind of the sitting duck on the river, and they were somewhere, and I'm not quite sure how close they ever got. They certainly didn't come to the tent. I never saw any footprints, but they were somewhere kind of following my progress, or my slow progress as I made it down.
God.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. Not seeing them was almost scarier, because I never knew whether it was like a fear that was a genuine fear, or whether it was just like, oh, there's some wolf sounding in the distance.
Yeah, Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, that it's one of those things you watch it and you actually have like I went, oh my God, when I was eating my beef stew watching that then. It was it's just like so scary to look at, and just being completely on your own in that situation as well. You touch on it, like the weight of the decision is purely on your shoulders, and that kind of stuff must have like really strained on you, and it did clearly in the film.
Yeah. So I think that was that part of the ride. So that up in the cold of the frozen road, I was a year and a half into a bike ride around the world at that point. So I'd been on my own for a long period of time and kind of pretty used to dealing with stuff on my own. But I'd never experienced sort of such difficult scenario that it's like obvious what in my mind was danger. So I think it really weighed on my shoulders quite heavily at that point. I was like, oh shit, this is like a big deal. I need to like make wise choices here. And that was the first time it really dawned on me. It was like, oh, like there's no one to share the burden of a decision with, no one to talk it through. And that was quite a lonely place to be, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny, on our trip where we ended up in Siberia, and we had that similar thing. We dawned on us, but we were together. But like, it's that thing, is I don't know, for you, like, if you've been in a moment that's scary, quite often you like it was a short moment, and you reflect on it and you think, blimey, that was serious. But in that sort of scenario, you were like, this is serious, and I've got a long way to go yet, and you're just in the middle of it, like panicking almost, really. Like,
yeah. I mean, it was then 3 days of kind of that backwards and forwards, not having the decision made, basically. Not really sure whether it was like right to go forwards or move back, or like just what to do in that scenario. But yeah, it was only 3 days of like having a little bit of mental torture, but usually it was fine during the day when I was pushing my bike, and it was quite clear. I was like, okay, all I've got to do. I was managing to push maybe 1 kilometer an hour. And it was 60 kilometers to get off the river. So I could like easily break that down. Whereas at night when I was in my tent, and then everything was like all the weight of the decisions and whatever came on my shoulders then.
Yeah, it's just so scary. Maybe we've got loads of questions coming in on the feed here, so we should put some of those to you. And a lot of them are about the making of it. Because we've got a lot of adventurers watching, a lot of film makers and stuff. And they're all saying what me and Reece said when we watched this is, how the hell do you film that in those conditions, like, and out there on your own, keeping batteries warm, all that kind of stuff? Talk to us the challenges of filming it.
Yeah, so I'm not, or I wasn't a filmmaker by any sort of training or trade beforehand. As I said, I'd set off from the bottom of South America and had ridden up to northern Canada, and during that time had kind of picked up a cheap secondhand camera before I left, and thought, well, this is I've got a long time on my own to learn how to film. So I was very used to like self-filming cycling and setting up shots, and the classic, you put the camera, you ride away, you come back, and all that nonsense. But this was a completely different ball game, being in such cold temperatures. Yeah. So in terms of filming, I mean, I was no time restrictions. It wasn't like I had to get somewhere particularly fast. So I did spend quite a lot of time setting up some quite like big shots. So I'd walk a long way from where I was going to be cycling, set up the shot. So the opening shot to the film it took maybe 25 minutes to make, maybe 30 minutes. And one of the key things for snow is you don't want your footsteps in front of the frame.
Yeah.
So you got to take a really wide arc around just to make sure your footsteps are in the frame. And I knew that I was filming it and wanted to, try and make a short film out of it. It was one of the ambitions from that part of the ride. I was like, let's see if I can actually make a film. So I did put some effort into it. But in terms of like looking after camera gear, I took 10 little DSLR batteries with me, strapped them around my body, and they would usually, I could use 2 a day. There'd be some days where I didn't film, lots of the stuff I didn't end up filming. And there was a couple of points where I passed through villages on the route where one night I slept in a church in one of the villages and managed just to set my alarm every night to wake up to every few hours to plug in the next batteries and next batteries. And just trying to keep everything warm and frost free, basically. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So now you are kind of like a filmmaker now, right? So that kind of set you off on your path, really, yeah. So Where do you rank that film? Because people watching this, and I love it. I think it's unbelievable. I'm just quite interested to see what you think about it now that you're a little further down the road. Do you look at it and think that's great, or do you think, oh, I could do things better and stuff? Because the shot's still unbelievable.
Absolutely hate it. Yeah, it's the very first thing I'd done. So it was kind of I can see all the holes in it. I can see all the amateurness in it. I think the story's interesting, but I don't like my own story, so I'm not particularly excited by it as a film. So yeah, I'm not sure I want to make a film about myself again.
Wow, it's got an interesting story like that though, man. And I guess it wasn't necessarily just about you as well, because it was like that whole thing of solo travel as that I was thinking, like what I was getting from that, like it was kind of reminds me of like Into the Wild and that guy and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of a bit like that, the whole like Alaska thing. And the shot at the end when you're just sat in the toilet, I thought was just like spot on, because it was like, I've never done solo travel like that, but I kind of imagine it to be a bit like that. Like this isn't nothing to share it with, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, I watched so many like adventure-y films and read adventure stories and stuff, and thought I had an understanding of what like the experiences that people have are. But what I realized through the Frozen Road bit is that my experience didn't really match up to the whooping and hollering and high-fiving of like classic adventure films.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really, really important to just portray everything as brutally honest as possible. So that was the highs, but also the crushing lows and the doubts at the end, and the realizations that it was not really for anything. And I think it's quite important if there is anyone out there who's looking to make short films about trips. It's really important to try and find that balance between, obviously, you are the story just by necessity out of it, but you need to find a way to kind of extract something a little bit larger that will resonate with people a bit more. So that's kind of how I fell upon the solitude, loneliness, Jack London quotes in there, because I thought, well, that kind of sits. People can watch that and probably take that idea into their everyday lives elsewhere. So it kind of just resonates. It's a bit more universal than just I went from A to B and this is what I saw and did.
Yeah. And if you want to see a film like that, head to Sidecar Corner. We've made a cracker.
If he thinks that's bad, he's mate, there's a few questions coming in on the feed. One from a guy called John C. He said, would you challenge yourself to something more mentally challenging like that again? Now you've done something like that, or is it just like that you do?
So yeah, there's like various adventure things that I really want to go and do, which I've yet to do. So I finished this world ride, which ended up being 3 years. I finished that in late 2017. So it's now been 3 years since that happened. And there's other like ambitions, longer term adventure things that I want to do, but life starts to take its twists and turns. And this year's been an interesting year where all those plans get put on hold. I would like to test myself. I don't think I have the compulsion to test myself quite as much as I did when I was younger. And I think that is quite like I just finished university and was setting off on this ride, and that's quite a classic trope, isn't it? Of like, go like, test yourself, find out who you are. I'd spent 3 years doing that, so I don't have as many ambitions to do that in a pure adventure sense. But since moving into filmmaking, I found like documentary filmmaking is becoming kind of that same challenge, but just in a different avenue. Like adventure's really not just go and climb a mountain, is it? It's relevant in so many other walks of life.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So Ben, get back to the place you went to on that film, Frozen Road. For anyone who's like sort of planning on travel there, maybe thinking about doing some like cycling in these kind of environments and stuff, like what's it actually like? Is it like it's minus 30? Is it freezing cold on the bike, or are you okay? And what's it like out there?
No, it's going to be a really stupid thing to say, but it's not as cold as a wet day in the UK. So anywhere that like, so up there, I think the lowest temperature I hit was minus 40, but that was only for a couple of days right at the very end. But it's a really, like, people live up there. Like, obviously people can manage in those scenarios and manage absolutely fine. But it's a very dry cold up there, and so it's very easy to layer against dry cold. And the big important thing is in managing your own moisture. So it's any moisture that's kind of going to be the killer, or going to give you frostbite, or going to lose fingers and toes. So it's about getting a good like layering system so you can get all your moisture as you're sweating passing through. So I was only wearing like maybe 3-4 layers because I was obviously generating a lot of my own heat. So it wasn't like that cold whilst riding, but obviously as soon as you stop, and this is what was really difficult with filming, was that I had my hands in these big pogies, which are these big furry things sat on the handlebars. And my hands would get really, really warm in those things. Those things are like fantastic. But my hands would get a bit sweaty then and a bit moist. So every time I'd stop and get the camera out to do a bit of filming and the wind was blowing and it was minus 30, then that moisture on my hands would just cripple me so quickly. So it was kind of just managing that moisture, which was the tough thing in terms of like sheer frozenness. Like, yeah, you get a frozen beard and stuff, but it's not actually that bad.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, a lot of moisture on your face at some points during that. That's some great stuff.
Game of walrus.
Yeah. No, very cool, man. And I mean, I would love to do something like that. We went across Siberia, Trans-Siberian Highway on the road, but in winter, like minus 40. We were in a bike, so we weren't generating any of our own heat. So we really moan about it all the time and say it was the hardest thing we'd ever done, because it was. In a sidecar, you just sit there and get freezing cold. Yeah, so it was really cold. But there was a guy cycling the other way, and I said to Reece at the time, I'd rather be in his shoes right now. But I never knew if it was true or not, and I'm still weighing up that decision, like whether I would have.
Yeah, so I was obviously never cold while cycling, but it was when I stopped and things would freeze, and things would freeze so fast. So the boots that I had, they had like a wool liner in them, like a wool bootie. And my feet would sweat during the day, so then that bootie would have to live in my sleeping bag at night so that it didn't freeze. And sometimes I would like put it in my sleeping bag too late, and then it would just be frozen in this weird, awkward position. And there was just a lot of like management of moisture.
Yeah.
But never cold whilst actually moving.
No.
Did it ever come a point where like the film, like people talk about like dedication to fit, like that you said the standard stuff, setting up the camera, walking around so there's no footprint. It ever come a point in that where you was like, this isn't worth it? I mean, this is just.
So a lot of the times when I was pushing the bike on that section, that was like 3 days long. I think I used almost every single shot that I shot there. So there's a few big-ish shots where I kind of walked away and got a shot of me pushing, but most of the time I was like, the camera's got to go away here. This is too like. It's also too stupid if something were to happen and then I get found and they're like, well, this guy was just like filming himself. So I was really conscious of that. So yeah, there's quite a lot where I was like, this is just, it's not a good use of it. It's like getting out of here is more important than shooting.
But it's still so impressive though. Yeah, like it's still so impressive. Like, even going back to when you're in the tent, you can hear the wolves howling. Like it's the last thing that I would think of doing. I better get this on camera, because if I don't get eaten, I would just sit there like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It's
So you've got to remember that up there's maybe 15 hours of darkness, 14 hours of darkness. So I was in my tent a lot, and I got a few shots of the tent shaking with the wind. Put the camera away, heard the wolves, got the camera out again. So it's only a couple of shots during the night, and you're lying there wide awake. I couldn't sleep. So it just kind of distracts you a little bit.
Yeah. I guess also if you're on your own, there might be a bit of comfort in like talking to something at least, or like just there being something else there. Was it
yeah. Like and I did find like just speaking out loud is quite good for processing things as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just start like rattling around and you never really sequence your thoughts. Whereas at least when you're speaking out loud, it feels in some way that you kind of like bring everything in order.
Yeah, fair enough. We're coming towards the end, but a quick practical question we've got from Murray here. It's in terms of food. What did you take in terms of? Is that something you have to really plan and that sort of stuff, or not just all get freeze as well, or little practical?
Yeah, I mean everything freezes regardless. The big thing is making sure I had enough petrol for my little Whisper Light stove. But I had beans, I had rice, and I had oats. I had no like sponsorship through this, so I was on a pretty tight budget for the entire ride. So I was trying to keep things cost pretty low and things quite expensive up there. So I think the longest I packed food for was either 10 days or 12 days, and that was a tin of beans and some rice in the evenings, a few little cereal bars during lunch. So I didn't stop for any like middle of the day stuff, and then some like a few oats, so simply things in the morning. So running on quite low amounts of food, but I'd gone quite fat before it because I was like, okay, this is going to be helpful to
yeah, I was going to say.
I'd pile on 10 kilos so I could burn it off.
That's a good bit of planning there, definitely. Yeah. Oh well, that's pretty much. Oh God, sorry.
I was just going to say, like, there's if anyone's looking to go into those sorts of extreme environments, there's quite a lot of resources out there. And if anyone actually wants to send a message and ask some more specific questions, because there's a lot of things I learned and a lot of things I didn't do just for budget reasons, which I would recommend people do if they're going into those sorts of places. So I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
For sure, nice one. And it's Ben Page Films on Instagram, I think, is it? Is that right? Or,
yeah, so just send me a message on that.
Cool. Thanks so much, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. It was an awesome film, and you're the only person, or only one of maybe 3 or 4 people who featured at both festivals, because Ben is also the maker of A Time to Remember, which is, we didn't even get time to quiz you on that, but that's such a good film as well.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thanks so much for coming on, Ben, and yeah, we'll catch you probably at the next one.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks so much, guys, and thanks everyone for watching.
Cheers, man.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Cool. Wow, mate, there it is.
That's finito, isn't it, Nelly?
Yes, that is Ben Page, the last guest of the Armchair Adventure Festival Winter 2020. So what a way to finish it as well. That was quite something, wasn't it?
I know, it's an unbelievable film now, isn't it? And fair play for actually capturing it well and whatnot. It's absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, extremely impressive. I hope people enjoyed it. I mean, it sounds like people did, according to the feed. So that's good news. And yeah, fair play. Have you enjoyed yourself, Matt?
I have, mate. It's been a great weekend. Thanks everybody for coming along and being with us. There's loads of you here who have been here all weekend. So good to have had you all. Prizes, mate. I think the Shepherd's Hut prize, I realised that I only get the numbers one straight after this, and I was going to call them, but I don't think I should call them because it's 10:15 on a Sunday night. If they did just donate yesterday and they're not tuning in right now, could get a bit nasty, couldn't it? You know,
probably. Yeah.
People might have work in the morning, so I'm not going to call them, but we'll give you a text if you want it. Congratulations, Shepherd's Hut. Yeah, just a brilliant weekend, guys. Thanks so much for coming along. Thanks so much to all the sponsors. Thanks so much to Honda, Africa Twin, and the Adventure Centre for sponsoring the event. It's been absolutely fantastic. That's where we've got that really cool interactive map you can still check out for a while. We're going to leave that up there. So do have a tour through. There's loads of stuff going on the map.
Absolutely.
Loads more sponsors to thank, mate.
You what, sorry?
Loads more sponsors to thank. Oh, mate, let me do an announcement of whether we made the total.
Oh, yeah, do that, yeah. And while you do that, man, I was sipping my what you put that you just missed.
Okay. Oh my God, you got babies. Gross, mate. I think I hate that because I used to steal my mum's and get drunk off it when I was about 16. So
it's quite nice though. It's just got a nice feel to it.
Yeah.
Very, very festive. While you're doing that, yeah. So obviously, thank you so much to Honda Motorcycles and the Africa Twin in general for sponsoring the Armchair Adventure Festival. It's been a great weekend, and yeah, without your help, we wouldn't be able to be put on. Same for Kais. Thank you so much, Kais Apparel. Thank you so much for sponsoring the Armchair Adventure Festival. Really, really appreciate it. We've got so many partners as well. We've got Overland Magazine, Adventure Bike Rider, Adventure Bike TV. Sorry. We've got Metal Mule, Rentec. We've got Overland Expo to thank as well. Is there anyone else in particular I'm missing there, Matt? I don't think so.
Sun God,
of course, because Awaken is an absolutely unbelievable film. Thank you so much to Sun God. That was absolutely great. We've got more bikes to thank as well.
Yeah, motorcycle sport and leisure.
Motorcycle sport and leisure there, unbelievable as well. Other than that, I don't know.
I'm ready, mate. I've got it. I've got the total.
You've got the total?
Yeah, I've got the total. Drum roll, please, Reese. Nice, big dramatic ending. The total is, guys, the aim was £2,500 and the total is £2,697. So
that's good, isn't it?
Yes,
that is
how
good.
Cool is that? So that's how much we've raised for Coco this weekend. All the money raised from the tip jar and from the raffle goes towards Coco. It all goes to supporting projects in Western Kenya, in Hawaii. They're doing sustainable agriculture training out there. It trains women who have currently got really awful jobs, so they get paid 40p for 14 hours of work, and they get their own business, their own way of creating sustainable, nutritious food and feeding their whole family and sending their kids to school. And it costs £70 per person to get the training. So that's like nearly 40 women we've trained this weekend, which is a pretty cool thing. So well done. Thank you so much to everybody who's donated, and really worthwhile cause. So that's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. What's next for the Armchair Adventure Festival? Well, boot camp, Armchair Adventure Festival boot camp, 26th to 28th of February. We'll be back. This is going to be different, guys. It's masterclasses, it's courses in adventure, a way to save you money, save you time, and get the maximum out of your adventure. People like Austin Vince are going to be doing masterclasses in adventure travel filmmaking. Lisa and Simon Thomas in photography. If you're looking at sort of photography, go and check out the Armchair Adventure Festival calendar in the Armchair Adventure Festival shop. It's all right on the front. It's absolutely unbelievable. Sam Manicum is going to be joining us. He's looking at planning and whatnot, isn't he, Sam? I believe.
Yeah.
Say gear, gear to take for your trips. That'd be a really
fortune, mate. I wish I'd done that class before. The amount of rubbish we bought before we went, thousands of pounds worth of garbage.
Absolutely, yeah. And we've got Steph Jevons coming as well. She'll be talking about solo travel, and there'll be lots more as well. But that's the next thing. And it's at the moment, if you sign up before, I think we're going to extend it to tomorrow, aren't we? Tomorrow evening, £25 at the moment. The early bird rate. The usual rate is £45. It comes with an Armchair Adventure Festival notebook. Todd just showed up, I believe. Say hello. Hi, Todd.
Todd. Tech guy Todd's on the stream.
Todd's revealed himself.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it. Cheers, man.
Because without Todd, this wouldn't be a thing whatsoever. He's a guy who makes it happen behind the scenes. Yeah. So he's there. You are. You've seen the guy now. Again. So yeah, Todd. Thank you so much. Thank you to the team. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you to Sean. Been working the socials throughout the whole event. I can't believe everyone's seen Todd.
Yeah, but people are just saying, is he muted? I believe he must have come unmuted because we heard him. So if we're hearing him, you're hearing him, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Todd a mime? It'd be so good if Todd was a mime at this point. Todd just comes on, starts in the box we kept him in. Yeah, I think, no, they couldn't hear you, man, for some reason. That's good, isn't it?
Either way, he was just saying thank you. And never mind, but yeah, great to see Todd there. And yeah, guys, Armchair Adventure Festival Bootcamp, you can win yourself some Sun God sunglasses if you sign up before the Monday evening. And yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it, Matt?
Yes. Is he like the Stig? We can't see him, but we can't hear him. Oh man, I can't believe you didn't hear Todd at all. Todd, come back on stage. We'll do it by all of us together.
Yeah.
Leave. We can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear him now, guys? He wasn't actually muted though. He has to unmute. We did not hear him. Okay. Well, there you go. Who knows what happened there?
All right. Well, he sounds lovely. Lovely. Yeah. But yeah, that's it, Matt. Anything to add from you?
Only if you missed any of the festival, you can catch it on a backstage pass. Go and do that. It's £2. Cancel any time. It supports the festival, not the charity. So if you want to support the charity, go for that. But it's £2, and you get to see all the content throughout December. You could win an Overland event ticket if you do that. And also, mate, boot camp. If you sign up for boot camp in the next 24 hours, you could win those pair of sunglasses. So yeah, that's it really from us guys this time. I guess the only other thing left to say, mate, is we wish you all a very happy Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Absolutely, that's definitely to add. And if you do want to carry on with the Armchair Adventure Festival stuff, there's a full map of Armchair Adventure Festival content, guys. There's Sidecar Corner. You can watch the first cut of our round world trip that I've done of the London Cape Town section. You can buy our book. You can get a bar of Tony's Chocolonely with that. You can check out the information tent and learn a bit about the program is in there, to give that a read, and some of the articles in there. Thank you so much to all the speakers and everyone who joined us this weekend as well. We haven't even mentioned that yet, and they were again brilliant speakers.
How do we not mention that in the thank yous?
That's the
main thing.
Yeah, it's a main thing that makes it happen. Yeah, it's taken for granted that they are just so good. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone. And again, thank you to those sponsors, Honda Motorcycles and Kaiser Apparel, and all of those media partners as well. They've been great. I think that's it, Matt. I'm finished.
Okay, that's it. We never really know quite when to leave, but let's leave now. Bye, guys. See you at boot camp, February. Catch you later. Bye.